All right, welcome back, Truth Seeker. Let me make sure our audio levels are good here. Had that live stream the other day that went on for 30 minutes with no audio. It looks like we're all right. All right, so I want to say thank you to the people who have supported the work. It's very much appreciated. And again, I did say something about a week ago, and I want to say it again. We really need to get out and pound payment like we did in Oklahoma City and Dallas, but we need to do it all over the nation because it brings people together and it allows a community to start to grow. And this is what we need to do all over the nation. Have a day where we get together, people come out, they meet each other, they exchange phone numbers, and they realize they're not as alone as they thought they were. And again, we really it's the time is past, like we're past the time that this needed to happen. I've been calling for this for 7 years now. Again, this was the video I put out in 2015. The message 2015, why we need to organize, network, create community, and start working together to raise more awareness in our communities. And I've been working pretty hard at the goal, for almost the whole time. Had a few projects sabotaged along the way, unfortunately. But again, you guys, it needs to happen, and it does happen, and we just saw it happen in real time on April 19th and April 20th in Oklahoma City and Dallas. And again, it's really all I've been thinking about lately is how much more this needs to happen in every city across America. Well, it's hard to do every city as one person, but every big city at least, because then people can come to the bigger city and convene there. And for the naysayers who said, "Well, Zach, you went to Oklahoma City and you promoted it for 3 months, and only about 100 total people came out." Again, were you there? If you weren't there, then you can't really complain, right? And maybe if you saw that 1,000 people came out, maybe that would make you want to be there even more. But the point is, we need to do whatever we need to do to get more and more people to come out until we have the kind of numbers that we need to make change in the world. Because again, that's ultimately the purpose of understanding what's going on in the world. Not just to have the information in your head, but to take that information and to have a positive influence on the world, to change the direction of things. Again, it's very obvious what way America's being moved. It's a way that's less and less of what we thought America was. Freedom of speech, not so much. Right to bear arms, not so much. Freedom from, having the police and military searching and seizing without warrants in your home. All of this stuff, it's on the trajectory of the opposite of what we want. It's on the trajectory of more and more infiltration, surveillance on your life, and less rights and liberties and quality of life. And that isn't a trajectory that anybody should be happy with. And I don't think anyone really is happy with it, but there's some people who are going along with it because they're not seeing what's really happening. They're not seeing that an agenda is being waged against humanity to make these things happen. And it's perpetrated through a news media that does not do its First Amendment purpose. Again, that's the thing we have to realize. The First Amendment is supposed to be the thing that allows the news to be something that informs people. But we have a totally controlled media that lies to us all the time for the sake of agenda, that's hooked up with Big Brother and government. And you guys, from me being out on the scene, you guys have been able to see that that really is the case by the things that happen. Me getting attacked by news reporters, my property vandalized by news reporters. Police don't care. Politicians don't care. No lawyer wants to help you out. None. But again, had any of these things been reversed, had I been out there attacking news reporters and damaging their equipment, I'd probably get beat up by the police. I'd probably be in jail. I'd have all sorts of lawyers working to sue me for as much as possible. And again, you guys, this is a system that's not acceptable. It's been this way for all of our lifetimes, and we've allowed it to get worse and worse. And again, we live in this world where so many things are so expensive that shouldn't be. Lawyers shouldn't be so expensive. I knew I wanted to be a lawyer when I was a child, and I didn't want to be a lawyer to get rich. I wanted to be a lawyer to help people out. All the injustices of the world. I used to write papers in elementary school about how I was going to be a lawyer someday. and help all the people get out of the, essentially the cage that they were in for all these unjust reasons. And the reason I knew about things like this when I was a child is because I had a sister who's 12 years older than me that was about this. So I kind of got to, as like as a 9-year-old, I was into like the 21-year-old world. My sister used to be a lot different person, for all you guys who are used to me harping on about my sister and how much she drives me nuts. And part of the reason she drives me nuts is because she inspired me to do the right things as a young person, but then she married into a rich family and became a totally different person. But anyway, we live in this world that's just so bankrupt, so corrupt, and the thing is, we really could change it if we really wanted to. And, one of the big concerns is I don't think enough people really want to change things because they're not bad enough yet for them, and that's really sad. That means that we're content being, essentially commodities that are used and abused by authorities. We're okay with our children being put into schools that become, I don't even know. I mean, the education system's gotten so bad now. I think even every parent knows it, but they don't have a choice. They got to work their slave job. They can't afford private school. They don't know where else to send their children during the day. Again, a lot of people are just going along with things because they don't see any other option. And we have to create better options by resisting what's going on, demanding change, and if we don't get our demands met, making it happen. And not in the Antifa way, like Antifa right now standing out on the corners in Seattle and other cities saying, take away our abortion rights and we'll burn down your city. And it's like, again, we're not advocating for destructive, nonsensical destruction, but there are, again, the Constitution, you guys, says you have the right to defend yourself from enemies, foreign and domestic. And if the enemies are here in the U.S., which I know they are, and so should anybody who's awake, then we have the right to defend ourselves from them. And since there's an offensive against us that's waged through, they say the pen's mightier than the sword, through news scripts and new laws and legal changes and undermining the Constitution. Again, we have a right to defend ourselves from that, and we can defend ourselves, I would say, in whatever way is necessary to stop what's going on. But again, none of this stuff's ever going to happen if people don't start to organize, network, and see a real way to organize, network, get inspired from things happening right in their community. I've been doing this for 9 years behind the computer screen, and it has helped get knowledge and information out there, but it's obvious it hasn't inspired people enough to organize and network in their communities. I've now spent $50,000 on a website. That's what the bill's up to because we've been doing it for almost 3 years now. But almost $50,000 on a website to, get people to organize a network, and it's happened in some small ways, and it's brought some relationships together, and that's all great, but it hasn't done nearly what I hoped it would have at this far into it. It doesn't mean it won't eventually do that, but again, it's just, from what I've seen, the best way to spark that interaction and organization is just getting out there, being in person physically, saying, come on, come out if you support this, see who you'll meet today, and that works. So it has to happen. And it looks like the best solution to the problem, if you will, and the problem being, people not actually organizing and networking and sharing information and trying to make something happen in their community. The problem is that's not happening enough yet. It needs to happen. And understand, for all the people out there who say, well, Zach, protests go on all the time. We're not talking about protesting. We're talking about doing something that's never been done before. When you guys say that, it's like you're equating what I do with people who just go out and hold a protest sign that's usually, that's not what we do. We go out and we bring knowledge and information that people have never seen or heard before that really does prove the agenda and who's responsible. This is on a much different level than just protesting, going out because you want all the women that are going out and holding a clothes hanger sign and saying, protect our abortion rights. If you think that's the same as what I do, then I don't know what's wrong with you. In fact, I don't know why you're here, okay? And those women who are out there protesting, good for them standing up for what they believe in, what they think is right. I'm not saying that what they're doing is all wrong either, but I'm just saying it's nowhere near the same level. We're going out and sharing information and knowledge that exposes the agendas. I can go to that abortion protest, and if I can get those people to listen, I can get them to see how they're all being played. I can say, look at what I've been documenting for 5 years about abortion and the number 122. Look at all of these things. And the same argument I've been making at the same time is all of this stuff is bait to divide us as a nation. United we stand, divided we fall. All of this stuff is bait throughout history to piss people off, to get them at each other's neck and not see, the other evils that are being perpetrated against them by the same people who use abortion as a political carrot. And look how obvious it is, them doing this right as people are about to announce their candidacy in an election year. It's just such obvious bait. But again, the leak comes on the 122nd day of the year, like Roe vs. Wade was decided 1/22, and they've done a million things with abortion in 122, and this is just the latest. But again, the knowledge we have can get those people who are at each other's necks, ready to throw Molotov cocktails at each other, to say, wait a minute, are we all being played? And I know some people in the crowd, they'll never listen because, they've closed off their mind and they're just obsessed with their political party and their political point of view. But there are people that listen. And when I'm out on the streets, when I'm pounding pavement, I don't have people trolling me like I do online saying, oh, you sound like such a weirdo, a loser. I have mostly people who are interested and say, well, where can I learn more about that? Or they just, they part ways and they don't really say much, and you can tell that probably it wasn't their thing or they don't want to think that much about things. But I haven't really had negative interactions out explaining this knowledge to people. People mostly seem to get it. And again, there are some people where the cognitive dissonance switch goes off and you can tell they kind of shut down, or especially with the Trump supporters. I've had that a lot with Trump people because they see things are wrong, but they've made Trump their hero. And then when they find out Trump's part of the same power structure, then they kind of, they don't want to hear anymore because now they're, and again, that's how so many people are, whether it's Trump or Jesus, they got this savior messiah complex and they need someone that they think is going to save them. When in reality, the savior's inside all of us and we're supposed to be saving ourselves through action. Through wisdom. And again, for all the other people out there, for the people who seem to always watch my videos and leave the same type of comments, I would never donate anything to you because you're teaching witchcraft. Okay. If you think I'm teaching witchcraft, you really are, you're really struggling to grasp the point of, what's the intent of someone's work. So many people have called in over the years and said, Zach, how can I use this in my own life? And I always say the same thing. I said, well, there could be ways you could use it in your own life, but you might want to think twice about doing that because it is a form of magic, and, magic has unintended consequences, and this stuff's used by the dark occult. So, it is possible that there could be some way to use it in your life, and, that there is a magical benefit. But I've never encouraged that ever, and I've always said, the only time I ever use this on purpose is when I'm encoding my book titles for the sole purpose of saying, see, you can be clever and come up with the right numbers for a set of words, just like how these people do every single day in their rituals. But, yeah, again, you guys, we need to get out there, and so here's my offer. I said if we can get up to 7,000 people pledging $1 or more a month on the Patreon, I will go down to Big Tech, that's Central California, as soon as we hit that 7,000 milestone, and I'll spend a week there pounding pavement every day at Google's campus and the other surrounding big tech companies, talking about the First Amendment, trying to get their employees to engage about how they feel about what their companies are doing. And I think it would be great to get that information and interaction out there, plus bring everybody together in the Bay Area who's about it, and really all the big tech, or not big tech, but all the people making content on big tech that are getting censored. If we can get to 7,000 people pledged on the Patreon, $1 a month, then I will go straight to Silicon Valley the day it happens. And again, I'll be there for a whole week. So people should hear about it, and people will have a chance to get out, and we'll try to see if we can build our numbers each day all week. That'd also be the purpose of doing it for a week straight. And when I say a week straight, I mean 7 days, not Monday through Friday. We'll do it 7 days. We'll do a whole week straight, every day, pounding pavement, trying to get people at those companies to think about what they're doing to the First Amendment. And for all the people who will say things that we can imagine in response, like, well, we're a private company, so we don't have to respect the First Amendment, we'll say, yeah, that's true. But what do you think about that? Is that being the thing that makes America special, and how big of an influence your company has on what America is? How do you think that is for the country to disrespect the First Amendment, private company or not. We just need to have real conversations with these people. And since I've already been having these conversations with these people for 3 months straight, when I did Uber and Lyft in Seattle, which is also a big tech city, I already know some of them will own up. And the thing is, a lot of people don't want to be on camera, so I might have to just like keep a recorder going in my pocket all day, honestly. It might end up having to be a lot of it an audio podcast, but I know we can get these people to talk about these things. Maybe not so much on camera, but some people will. And anyway, we'll see if we can build our numbers, people who come out. So anyway, if we can get up to 7,000 Patreons, we're up to, we crossed 5,000. Thank you to people who are supporting, but we're still a ways off the mark. If we can get to 7,000, I'll be down to big tech Silicon Valley. And if we can go past that and get to 10,000, the day we hit 10,000, I'll tell Sweet Lady. Sweet Lady's on board with it if we can get to 10,000. I will start the lap around the country. We'll do a full lap around the U.S. We'll drive all the way around. We'll hit all the major cities. If we can get to 10,000 people pledging $1 or more a month. And realize, if there's 10,000 people pledging $1 or more, I'll have a bigger bill for that month than the funds coming in. And I'll be dedicating all my time and driving and miles and wear and tear on your car. So realize, once again, I'll still be making the biggest output. And you guys, that's the other thing for why you really should support me. Have you seen anybody work half as hard in your life in the last 9 years? I've been here day and night every single day, okay? And I've always been a hard worker. I'll always be a hard worker. It's just built into me. But again, have you seen anybody work their ass off? Have you ever seen anybody honestly bring a more condemning piece of evidence that you can use every single day to shed light on who is actually running the world and manipulating people? Because if you haven't figured it out yet, that is exactly what you can do with the knowledge that I teach every single day. The world needs this knowledge. So, these are reasons to invest $1 a month. You get a guy who works his ass off 7 days a week, from morning until evening, day after day. You get someone who invests back in the community. You get someone who's tried to lead multiple efforts to organize and network people. And you get somebody who's been out there proving it for years of why we need to wake up and talk about the things we need to. And again, in case somehow, some way, you do not know about the, just the things we've been trying to do the last couple years, that's the other beauty of being out there. When you're out there, you come across news teams. You get a chance to interact with the news and interrupt their propaganda and possibly get them to talk about things that need to be talked about. And even though we have had interactions with the news, so far they haven't put it on the TV. But the day that will change is the day, like I've said, where we got organized groups in cities, when we can do things like get mass gatherings. And a mass gathering could be 50. If there were 50 people outside every news studio in every major city, most cities have 3 or 4, but the day that we get people to organize and network and stand up for the First Amendment and everything going on, and they're just outside these news studios. Again, just imagine it. All throughout the nation, there's a large gathering of people outside every news studio demanding them to talk about big tech's assault on the First Amendment or a host of other important topics. One day could be Gematria. We're just trying to get them to talk about things that nobody knows about or is not or seem oblivious to. But if everybody starts organizing and networking and getting out their news studio and creating buzzes in those buildings, there's going to have to be a day where they address it. Because, again, it eventually would create a buzz. People start saying, man, do you hear about these gatherings that are going on at the news studios? Have you heard about that yet? And, hey, thank you, Henry. I saw the super chat. I appreciate it. But, again, the day that these things start to happen is the day there's going to be change. So if we can make this happen in a lot of cities and a big lap around the country, if we can make this happen, we'll be on our way. And we need to be on our way, and we need to be on our way sooner than later. Again, you guys, there's so many things that we're up against, and it is possible that it's already too late. It's possible that it's too late, but you can't live with that mindset and just quit and give up, because then what is there? You know what I mean? Anyway, I just want to remind people about why things like what I'm doing right here need to happen. If this is going on all over the nation with the news teams, they can't get away with their propaganda broadcast, because the people have had enough. We've had enough of the misinformation and the false information and not covering what we need to know. But here, let's just go back down memory lane and see what the power of pounding payment is. And I got to switch audio settings here, so give me a minute. But okay, my voice should sound different, but it'll sound better for the broadcast. So here we go. This is March 2020, right after the pandemic was declared, trying to get Fox News to cover Event 201, and they had to get the news producer to come and yank me away. This is what it looked like. Right as I was doing this, a gentleman came up, and he caught this part of the interaction right here. But realize, this is actually what it needs to look like all throughout the nation. News media getting confronted, news media being asked why they're not reporting things people need to know. The day this is what America starts to look like is the day things start to change. It can't just be me out on the streets of Seattle. This has got to be happening all over the place. And that's the point of trying to inspire others. That's the other thing that happens. You get out there, you inspire others. Remember when I was going to go for 100 straight days in the corner of Yakima. We were at day 60-something. And then I started to get some shit. I had like the gangbanger coming by, flashing his weapon and threatening. And then the next day I had a guy come up and start throwing rocks all at me. And then, sweet lady, she saw one of those things and then she got concerned. And so anyway, the 100 days the 100-day straight plan got cut a little bit short. We were about a month short, but we did inspire a number of people in that time, young and old, to go out and start doing the same thing in their community. Again, we got to inspire other people to do the same thing. And maybe all of you who haven't been quite inspired yet, maybe you see more of this and from more people, then maybe you feel the confidence and you go out and start doing it. Again, we're trying to create a generation of, a group of people that go out and do things that are different than what it's been done before. The bravery to interrupt the news broadcast, the bravery to drop real information. If you guys remember, I interrupted the news broadcast February 7th, 2022 at the mass shooting of Fred Meyer. And I got in front of the camera and explained Gematria 38 and death and why this happened on the 38th day of the year and who the Brotherhood of Death is, the Skull and Bones clan. Well, for anyone who might have watched that and been like, oh, what a kooky guy who just interrupted the news, realize the very next day the breaking detail was that a 38-year-old killed a 38-year-old on the 38th day of the year like I was talking about. Those details weren't out yet about the 38-year-old shooter killing the 38-year-old. And then, of course, later as the day went on, then they turned the shooter to a 39-year-old on the 39th day of the year where Federal's 39 and he was supposedly arrested by the feds. But anyway, don't worry about people thinking you're dumb or kooky. The knowledge speaks for itself. When I did that live stream, trolls were like, oh, you sound so stupid. Well, then the next day, 38-year-old killed a 38-year-old. You think anybody who might have watched that and caught wind of that and thought it was kooky, do you think they might have noticed the next day that that's how the story was written? Because that's how you change people's minds. Maybe they do think you're a nutcase and a conspiracy theorist loser, but then they go, wait a minute. He just talked about that. Maybe I need to look more into this. And some people will be like, oh, they won't even notice, right? They made fun of it, and then they weren't even paying attention the next day and didn't even dawn on them. But again, we're trying to reach everyone we can reach. We're trying to change every mind we can change. We're trying to snap everybody out of it that we can. We're trying to snap people into action. And I know from being out there that it can happen. I can feel it when we're out there. We're nowhere near the goal, but I can feel. Like Oklahoma City, even though we didn't have nearly enough people, I could feel that if we keep doing this, it's going to get a lot bigger. And it's going to get to where it needs to be. But it's going to take effort and action and willingness and dedication. And for all of you guys on the fence, I'm asking you to cough up 3 pennies a day. That's not much of an investment. I bet you had people got behind this work when I first started, I bet you we would have had a huge impact on the world. I bet you we would have made a major positive change if we had the financial resources and reach to get the message plastered out there on billboards and do everything. Again, imagine if the whole nation knew about 56. They would have caught on to it a long time ago. They just kept abusing that 56 number through the whole pandemic. The problem is nobody knew what to look for.
You know, that's why we have to figure out a way to reach people. And still nobody knows about Event 201. And here was me 2 years ago trying to get Fox News to talk about Event 201. Watch this.
Let's talk right here. We'll talk right here. Get the fuck. Hey, get your hand off. Get your hand off. What news network are you? Get your hand off. Right here. We'll talk right here. Okay. October 18th, 2019. Right over here. Bill and Melinda Gates. I want to talk.
Here. So, right.
Welcome back, True.
Let's go back and watch. So this is leading up to that, but that gentleman who came up at the last second, he captured how you could see that guy was pulling on me because he kept grabbing me by my camera strap, trying to get them to talk about Event 201. But here's the lead up to that. And realize, if you think that I'm in the wrong for this, I don't know what's wrong with you. I guess you like being lied to by these people every day. Their propaganda needs to be disrupted, and we need to get them to talk about things that matter. It's a damn shame that the whole nation doesn't know about Event 201, and that should tell you everything right there. The fact that the news media doesn't want American people to know that they simulated this the day the military world games began. Imagine that. Anderson Cooper tonight on Anderson 360. What you need to know. The day of the coronavirus pandemic simulation. Yes, you heard that right. The day of the coronavirus pandemic simulation. The military world games were conducted in Wuhan, China. And making this all the more interesting, the man who led the Event 201 simulation was a Jesuit. And the military world games are also credited to the Jesuit order. Let's watch some of this and then we'll talk more. Imagine they go to the segment, get a little news clip of the different things they talked about in Event 201, including the censoring of people like myself online. That's literally part of the simulation. How to censor people like myself online. They even simulated that as they simulated the coronavirus pandemic. And again, that would be such an amazing broadcast. Then imagine they bring me on to talk about the significance of 201 and the history of the Jesuits and how it's coded into everything from Google to Bill Gates to the federal government and beyond. You know? These things are only going to happen. We're only going to get an honest news media when we make enough demands or we steamroll what's in place and then set up. I mean, that's the thing. We could live in an honest world if people were about it and good enough people fought for it. The problem is all the honest, good people of the world, they're thinking, oh, we're defeated. We can't do anything. All I can do is look out for myself and my family. All of this has got to change or everything is going to continue to get worse for all of us. I can't emphasize it enough. But again, let's just watch how this scene unfolded here. This is from my perspective. This is me filming.
Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Sunday, March 15, 2020. We're down at Pike's Place Market. We're going to be educating people all day about Event 201, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the simulation they did for a coronavirus outbreak October 18th, 2019, and the Netflix film Bill Gates participated in, The Next Pandemic. And I see right here on site, we have a news team. I'm going to interrupt their news broadcast and see if they're covering Event 201. So let's talk to the news. Excuse me? Are you guys covering Event 201?
No.
Why not cover Event 201?
Do something else.
Hey, John, will you come out here and take care of this guy?
You don't want to cover Event
I
201?
want you away from me.
You don't want to cover real news?
Excuse me. Can you step away?
Why don't you guys want to cover Event 201?
I don't know what Event 201 is.
So you guys need to know about this as the news. You guys are here for the people. This city is being terrorized right now by a simulation from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Okay, we can
October
talk about
18th, 2019.
Excuse me, sir.
I will.
Stop over here.
But I'm going to tell this man right here, you're the news anchor.
Come on.
Don't grab me.
Step away.
Don't
then,
grab me.
please.
You're not the police. October 18th, 2019, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation simulated a coronavirus outbreak.
I'll talk to you right here.
They simulated a coronavirus outbreak.
Over here, sir.
Do not grab me. Do not
Step
grab me.
away.
Do not grab me. What's up, man? October 18, 2019. Do not grab me.
I need you to
Do
step.
you want to start a physical altercation? Do not grab me. You're on camera.
We'll talk over here.
I'm going to make sure the news knows what's up. October 18, 2019. Do not fucking grab me.
Bro, get your ass away. Come on.
I'm telling you guys the real fucking
Get the
news.
fuck away.
Get the fuck off.
Let's
Do not grab me.
We'll talk right here. Get the fuck away. Okay? Get over
What
there.
news network are you? What news network are you?
Just stand right here. We'll talk right here. Okay, October 18, 2019. Right over here. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation simulated a coronavirus outbreak. This is very interesting. Come over here. Let's.
Okay, so the mistake I made was following this guy around to the other side of the van. I should have, I should have stayed right where I was and said, no, let's do it in front of the camera. But I learned my lesson when we just had the mass shooting in Washington State and I went down there. When they, when they smashed my camera out of my hands when I was trying to talk to them, then I decided to step in front of their cameras and interrupt their broadcast and teach them about the significance of 38 and Gematria, which again was a very valuable lesson because the next day the detail broke that a 38-year-old shot a 38-year-old on the 38th day of the year. But again, this is what needs to be happening all throughout the nation. I mean, and the thing is, if we get an actual, see, the thing is, I hate to use the system, but somebody had the idea of using the system, so I did file a police report for this for an assault, because this guy grabbed me like 5 or 6 times and yanked on me. And, but the thing was, I couldn't find any lawyer, because you need the police report, but I couldn't find any lawyer who was interested in helping out with the case. Now, I guarantee you, again, had it been reversed, if I'm in there yanking around the news reporter and trying to get in front of the camera, I guarantee I would have been sued the shit out of. All sorts of lawyers would have been willing. But the thing is, again, if we had enough resources in this community, we probably could find a lawyer. He might be a greedy bastard, but he might be good at what he does. And then maybe we could have our way with these companies, and maybe we're financing ourselves with these companies. Look what just happened to me when I went down to Oklahoma City. They knew I was coming, which kind of blew my mind. They were ready for me, and then they went hands-on as soon as I said that, yes, I am Zachary Hubbard. They asked me if I was Zachary Hubbard, if you don't know, when I was walking up to the memorial building. And as soon as I said I was, they went hands-on and started shoving me around. And again, I think if we found a lawyer who could help us out, I think we might be able to fund the case just with the way these people abuse when they get called out. So again, we need to start a ball rolling of momentum that's in our favor, and again, that's where it takes resources to do it. And again, you guys, it's the time is now. The time is now. So once again, if we can get to 10,000 people pledged $1 or more a month, hey, if you can pledge more, that would be awesome. But 10,000 people at the $1 tier, we will do the lap around the U.S. Because then I'll know our numbers are growing. We hit a new milestone. It's time for something real big. And there should be 10,000 people in the world who can get behind this work and the message. And anyway, let's just go back and look at the advantages of pounding payment.
This whole thing is.
This is so that it was the day that I was filming was a beautiful day in Seattle. That was Sunday, March 15th, 2020. This was 2 days earlier. I gave away over $2,000 in hoodies this day, to try and create a big spark so people could learn about Event 201. And it did make people come out because people wanted that hoodie. Some people showed up for like 30 minutes, got a hoodie and left. And I was just like, man, 30 minutes? Come on, man. But at least they came out, right? I mean, at least they came out. But somebody that day, because we talked to a lot of cars like this. This is on the corner. This is directly across the street from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Like, where I'm facing is the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Kitty corners the Space Needle. But we're on the corner of 5th and Mercer. And again, that's a busy intersection in Seattle. We're standing right here in front of the grocery store. That's what QFC is. We're standing in front of that grocery store because that's where the most traffic is on that road. And we had people drive by and do this. Somebody out there recorded what I said and then uploaded it to the internet, and somebody else ended up finding it. But again, this is also the advantage of being out there. Every time we're out there, people are recording, taking photos. God knows what they're posting on their own social media. But in a way, it's like I can do one video in a 2-hour period. If I'm out on the corner of Seattle in 2 hours, there might be a lot of people who come by and take a picture, upload, and put on their social media. Some will be positive, probably some will be negative. But God, even if it's negative, at least it's bringing attention. Because I can't tell you how many people over the years have left a comment that they saw a video from like one of my detractors or haters, but then they decided because they saw that, they're like, well, let me hear his point of view. And then they're like, I realized that the hater was just a hater. But yeah, I mean, and again, the nice thing about being out there is you can see how people are resonating with your message and they're getting it. And again, this is just a quick 1 minute, this person was stopped at the light, so I had to get something in real quick. But again, possibly life-changing knowledge for them. I don't know why this person uploaded to the internet, but they did. And again, I'm glad it made its way back to me. But this is why we have to get out there. You just don't know. You don't know what's going to happen until you actually go out and do it. And some things are positive. And again, the more people doing it, the more positive things that will happen. But again, the other good thing about being out there in person and working at a stoplight is you get better at like crafting a quick elevator speech that might get somebody interested. So here's us out in the. It was a cold, wet, rainy day this Friday, March 13th. This ended up being the same day they declared the pandemic in the U.S., but we had it for that day because it was right then that all the coronavirus stuff was going and the pandemic was declared. So we had to get out and get out the word about Event 201, something nobody was talking about. And don't forget, the number 201 is 311 in base 8 counting. What day did they declare the pandemic after Event 201? 311, right? March 11th. But here we go.
This whole thing is orchestrated. This is an agenda. We teach about Gematria and how every single day major agendas are orchestrated by this code of letters and numbers. It's very simple. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4. Pandemic 65 million dead in their simulation on Melinda Gates' 65th day of her age. And there's a whole lot more to it too. The patient 0 in Seattle, 121, January 21st. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, 121. Coronavirus outbreak, 121. Non-stop. Tom Hanks the other day, sleepless in Seattle, 121 days from his upcoming birthday. He gets diagnosed with coronavirus. This stuff is a joke. It's a joke. What do you think? You gotta do more research.
I do need to do more research. I'm just taking it in.
Gematria.
Was blocks from this place.
Gematria. Think about it. King County, coronavirus. Corona means crown. Needles, space needle, vaccines. This whole thing's a joke.
Okay, so again, some things more effective than others, but for people who don't get the sleepless in Seattle joke with Tom Hanks being the first celebrity on the day of the pandemic, again, it's undeniable that was the joke. The movie starts with him in Chicago. His wife dies from illness, and then he moves to Seattle. Remember, the first 2 cases of COVID in the world outside of mainland China were Seattle and Chicago, and both in the time of the 56th mayor. But, that was March 2020. We have so much more information since then. And, but I mean, even then we were seeing it crystal clear. And we could help a lot more people see it crystal clear. And we definitely have. I mean, and all the time I've been out on the corner of Yakima, that's the one downside about where I'm right now. I live in this small town. I envy fake Mike Real News being right there in the thick of it in the Northeast. I'm like, that's where I need to be, man. I need to get to the Northeast. I think once Sweet Lady passes her exam, I think I'm going to try to get her to... I almost want to move to the Northeast, you guys, because that's where all the action is. So I also want to create the community and get out of the country. There's 2 things I want to do at the same time, but at the same time, I mean, what I'd rather do than have to go, create an agricultural community and live separate from government is get this country to wake up and stop what our government's doing and make the country a lot better place. I mean, to me, that would be the bigger win. That's a lot bigger milestone. But anyway, if we can't get a community to come together in an agricultural thing and not enough people are behind that idea either, it's like, well, the next thing, best thing to do, it might be to move to a place like New York. So I'm in driving range of D.C. I can just be pounding pavement just hours away, waking up big crowds rather than doing it in the quiet corners of Yakima. But anyhow, from being out there for those days in Seattle, we were able to attract the news team to finally come out because we spent that whole weekend being out there. Friday, March 13th. We actually took a break that Saturday, but then we were out there all day Sunday, and then I spent a good portion of the day Monday. But by Sunday, we got Cairo 7, the news channel there in Seattle, to come out. And for people who always hear me talk about Big Al... Here's Big Al on camera. Big Al was actually talking to the news reporter first. You can see the hair of his chinny chin, but he's too tall for the camera, Big Al. Here we go.
So they did this simulation, about 65 million people dying from a coronavirus. And then it was shortly after that Bill Gates did the last pandemic on Netflix. He actually had 2. So I'm gonna let you talk to him because
It was on faster speed by accident. So if it sounded like he was talking fast, it's because it was on the faster speed. But this is Big Al talking to Deborah Horn, all of Cairo 7. And again, I mean, she came out there because we had a gathering. It caught her eye. And they didn't end up doing this as part of their news broadcast. But again, if more people are doing this kind of stuff all over the nation, eventually it creates enough of a buzz. The news media might realize there's enough pressure on the subject. They got to at least broach it. And again, if we can't get them to, again, we get our numbers big enough. We say, all right, news media, you had your chance, but we're defending ourselves from enemies domestic, and you're probably the biggest threat to all of us with your nightly propaganda and lies and everything you're doing to the country and the mind control. So this is what defense looks like. But anyway, enough pressure, we might get our way without having to steamroll them. But here we go.
Thank you guys so much. This from how all this stuff's being orchestrated and operated, but what you have to understand is all this stuff is all pre-planned and predetermined.
So you think that
trouble, but yeah, when you get to the mall, it's in the lower level.
I don't know about that.
Help you out. But yeah, monorail, it's not that expensive. It can't be more than, it used to be even cheaper. I think it's like $5 to the airport. Way cheaper than
We go straight to the quarantine.
You'll see. Because you choose like your destination, so you choose the airport destination. And you'll know when you're off at the airport.
Yeah.
Hey Zach, this is a reporter right here.
Hi, how are you?
You're doing very well.
So he was explaining to me that your belief is that this was orchestrated. Is that the coronavirus?
Absolutely.
Orchestrated in what
Did
way?
he tell you about Event
I started
201?
to talk about Event
He
201.
said you knew more about it.
Okay, so
I can't stay that long. I'm writing my story, but I
okay, so Event 201, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and Johns Hopkins University put it on October 18th, 2019, simulating a coronavirus outbreak that kills 65 million over the course of 18 months.
Okay.
Strangely enough, that took place on Melinda Gates' 65th day of her age. We teach about Gematria. Pandemic equals 65 in Gematria. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3. Just use the alphabetical order. Pandemic, E the 16th letter, you add up the letters, 65, right? So anyway, that happens. And then if you have Netflix, you can watch The Next Pandemic, which came out November 7th, 2019. That Bill Gates is the main speaker in that. In that short documentary that came out on Netflix just 3 weeks after Event 201, he predicts that in the near future there'll be a coronavirus outbreak, likely out of China, likely out of an open-air market.
Okay.
Bill Gates does another documentary for Netflix, which comes out January 22nd, one day after, and that one was called Pandemic. That came out the day after the first case of coronavirus was found in the U.S. right here in Seattle, Washington. Bill and Melinda Gates City, right?
Well, it came out, the first death, I know, was February 29th.
The 60th day of the year. Washington State equals 60. Quarantine 60. That same day, the news media put out that Washington was asked, or if you're 60 years or older, they have to be able to self-quarantine in Washington the same day. So, January 21st was the first case in the U.S., if you want to go back and verify it. It was right here in Seattle, Washington. In Gematria, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is 121. Coronavirus outbreak is 121. World Health Organization 121. I educate about how news media creates stories by the numbers every single day. I don't think most of you who work for the news agencies even realize.
Just for the record, right after the 121 thing, then Sirius XM added the all-day coronavirus station, which they made channel 121. And as we know, Revelation's the 121 number, and don't forget the first simulation was 666 days before the pandemic was declared, which we didn't know at this time yet. You know, that was information we came across a little bit later. But again, you can explain this stuff to people. Why Washington State on the 60th day of the year? Why quarantine if you're 60 and over? You know, again, Gematria sheds light that other things don't. And that's how you can see that it is a planned, coordinated ritual.
But I know you guys are asked to cover certain things on certain days, like the talking points come down from somewhere.
Well, no, I mean, we celebrate anniversaries. We don't have dates that we celebrate in particular.
But I'm just saying the way news stories come out. You work for a news agency, right?
I work for Cairo TV.
Cairo 6.
Cairo
Right.
7.
Oh, Cairo 7, sorry. Cairo 7, my apologies. So, we're asking people to think about these things. For example, Corona means crown, right? And here we are in King County, right? Bill Gates is a
computer guy, computers, viruses. In recent years, he's become Mr. Vaccine. Have you seen his TED Talk from 2010?
Yeah, no, I know he's not the only person who supports vaccines, but I still am not. I mean, I've been covering this. I've been to Kirkland. I've covered it there. We had 27 people die from one agency.
Isn't that suspicious?
Not to me. But why is it suspicious to
Because like you just said, a lot of deaths from one agency. That's that's half the deaths in the whole nation.
It spreads around the area where it happens.
It's mostly elderly, right?
So far.
Isn't that strange? That it's mostly elderly?
Why would that be strange?
Well, because I mean,
these are elderly people who are not the boomer generation.
Well, it's strange in the sense that I guess what I'm saying is it's not strange that elderly are dying. I'm just saying it's strange that we're freaking out as a nation when elderly are dying from sickness, which happens every single year. That's just a part of the world we live in. I mean, the elderly are the most vulnerable to the flu.
Well, I think what's unusual isn't that they're dying; it's that they're dying. Such a large number are dying because they have 6 to 7 deaths a month at this facility, but not 27 in a month.
Die in a car every day in this nation.
I'm aware of that, but
so we don't freak out over those numbers.
No, and I wonder why we don't, because we should, but we don't because we.
I got to point out something that you're not noticing here outside of the conversation. There's a group of guys back here, and I think it was her. Hold on, let me. If you go back, the woman back there has a Gematria Effect news hoodie on. I even forgot this happened. But that woman, she stood with us most of the day Friday, and she came out Sunday, and she was like so active in just talking to other people, and she never knew about Gematria before the Friday we were out there. We just happened to be doing our awareness thing right by where her apartment was, and she wanted to know what it was about, and I started explaining to her, and she just took to it right away, and it made a lot of sense to her. And you know, she came out both days, and then she was like trying to teach the information that I'd shared with her to other people. I mean, she got into it right away. And again, if we're not out on the corner, we don't have, you know, she doesn't know about this. She doesn't decide to dedicate her weekend to helping spread awareness about this. I mean, she got it, and it made sense to her. And yeah, I think she was just back there in that group interacting with whoever those other guys were, you know. So again, that's why you get out there and you see the difference. And it feels better being online interacting with people. I mean, the thing about computers is, you know, I mean, you can see somebody's face and their voice and, you know, read their words or hear their words. And, you know, it's kind of nice. But again, it's missing that human, like, you know, whatever we put off, radiation, energy. I mean, you don't feel that as much when you're not around people. And yeah, so, again, but here, we'll just watch the rest of this conversation. I haven't watched this for years, but again, at least we got the news lady out there listening. She decided to go back and write her story, which is probably her bullet points that came down from the New York, you know, syndicate, but here we go.
We drive,
right?
So we say it's that person's fault. It's not something that I've done. So, I mean, we know more people die in almost on a regular basis all the time, and yet when a plane crashes with 300 people on it, we talk about that for a long time. So that is a different conversation. I'm asking you, why do you think, what is it that Bill Gates has done that would cause this to happen? Are you saying that just the idea that he spread, or what has he done that makes this happen?
Sure. So Bill Gates is very much about population control. This is something he's talked about for a long time, that we need to reduce the population.
15%.
Are you aware of the Georgia Guidestones?
I'm not.
You got to look these up as someone who works in the news. Georgia Guidestones were placed where they are in Georgia, March 22nd, 1980. So they've been there for almost 40 years. So again, I don't know if I even get into 322, but you know what? Not long after this, Bill Gates' dad ended up dying 322 days after his birthday, right? Just this number. Just when I was in Washington with the mass shooting, it was 322 days after the last Kroger shooting, which was on 322. And again, that's why just if you get the knowledge out there, even if people are skeptics or they think you're wrong at first, if they actually pay attention and you put it in their head, they'll start to see. Oprah comes out and says she was in her house in quarantine for 322 days. Remember, that's the number of the Johns Hopkins University, which is founded by Skull and Bones member Daniel Coit Gilman. But anyway, just Here's a news reporter that doesn't know about the Georgia Guidestones. I mean, you're supposed to be a journalist. You're supposed to be a researcher. You're supposed to know about things. I've known about the Georgia Guidestones for, I don't even know for how long, for a long time. At least 15 years, 20 years. I mean, come on.
Next week will be 40 years. But they're massive stone pillars in Georgia, and they're etched out in 10 different languages, and they're mostly, they say new rules for a new world, but etched out in 10 languages. The first rule on there is to limit the Earth's population to 500 million. And most of the rules on there have to do with the Earth's population and making a better population that respects nature. Another rule on there is unite the world under one language.
If you really think about the Georgia Guidestones, they really fit in with the whole climate change thing, if you really think about it. Because it's mostly about taking care of the Earth, reducing population, the exact same points that are essentially being echoed in Bill Gates' 2010 TED Talk.
But by that reasoning, why wouldn't mostly young people be dying rather than elderly people who are going to be dying anyway?
Well, okay. So think about it from like a standpoint of government. Government, like right now, there's a lot of spending on Social Security, elderly, expensive medical programs. It would make sense from a financial point of view to target these people. They are the most expensive part of, the government healthcare system. So Bill Gates is talking about, the burden of this overpopulated world, how we have to do something about it. If you watch his TED Talk from 2010, the way he says to eliminate 15% of the world's population is through vaccines, which is a suspicious thing. And if you watch this documentary...
He suggested we take vaccines to reduce the population. Because vaccines are keeping people alive.
That's why I don't get it. That's why I don't get it.
But when you hear it out of his mouth, you're like, no, there's no way.
And he said it multiple times.
Oh, I definitely have to watch
that. The first time he ever said it was 2010, but do research. He said it multiple times over the last decade.
But that's illogical.
I agree.
They give vaccines to save people's lives.
I agree.
Not to kill them.
I agree.
But he says in order to reduce it, or he says that it would be beneficial. How does he say it exactly?
Well, he says, I'll look it up.
Yeah, look it up.
All right.
His goal is to reduce population by 15%.
All right.
So sadly, this is over 2 years ago now. So she must have looked it up, and she must have saw that it was true, because it is true, and big tech doesn't like you talking about it. They like taking down your video for pointing it out, which is absolutely sick, and that's why we need to be in big numbers in Silicon Valley asking what these people are doing. Why are you, not only are you against the First Amendment, you're against people pointing out what looks like true evil. You're covering up for true evil. I mean, you could argue this is even worse than going against the First Amendment. Both are evil acts. But, here, let's see how this finished up.
I don't have much more time. I'm trying to see if I had a card. But you guys are going around with your signs, though, aren't you? Is this the only place you're going to be?
We were Friday. I called your news agency and every other news agency and asked them.
We're busy covering the virus itself, so until that slows down, I doubt we would do anything.
Well, we were at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation all day Friday, and we created a big buzz in that building. We had employees come out and tell us that they hadn't known anything about Event 201.
Quiet, you're talking to a criminal. Don't make no sense when you talk
But the thing was, the employees came out and said, wow, we didn't even know about this Event 201, so we created a big buzz in their building. That was the same day that Bill Gates announced that he was stepping down from his board of his organization. So that was one of my...
By the way, the homeless woman is saying that I should be quiet because I'm talking to a criminal. And you know what? People don't give homeless people credit, but homeless people... You know what's funny? High Impact was down in Vegas. He fled Oklahoma City and went and filmed the Trump Tower in its parking lot the day of April 19th. So I guess he could have a reason for why he wasn't in Oklahoma City to help out. But he was walking by and he said, the next person I cross, I'm going to ask him this. Well, it ended up being a homeless person. He's like, well, the person I'm coming up on is homeless. I'm not going to ask them anything. It's like... My man, you should have talked to the homeless person. Homeless people, you guys, this is not a joke. Homeless people are probably at least 5 times more likely to know what's going on in the world and what's wrong with the world. And the homeless people will blow your mind. Not every single homeless person on the street. Some of them have like some serious chemical abuse problems and they're not in their right mind at all. But there's a lot of homeless people on the street that would blow your mind with how much they know. And it might make you go like, how is this person homeless? And there's actually people who choose to be homeless on the street because they're so disgusted by the world they live in, they don't want to participate at all. They don't want to have a job. They don't want to pay any taxes. They're actually like the most hardcore truth seekers, And they probably also have a substance abuse problem, but again, there's people on the street that know what's going on, and they're more awake and more read and more up on the times and seeing through the agendas more clearly than so many of the zombies walking around in suits and, bags full of stuff they just bought in the store. So that homeless person, she probably knows what this woman's done in her history in Seattle and the things she's covered up for and the stuff she's reported on that wasn't true. And yeah, so I mean, that also might have been the truest moment that when that lady started saying that, because she must have went and watched the clip. I told her about it. I mean, he says it clear as day. It's 100% factual. Where was the follow-up story? We still haven't seen Deborah Horn of Cairo 7 do, Event 201. I mean, it's 2 years later. These are our news people. They need to be held accountable.
In these 2 Netflix films that come right out after.
Being tested positive. Someone tested positive here. They found out about it yesterday. But I'm glad to know that that man can
Well, thank you for listening to us. I appreciate it. And what's your name again?
Deborah Horn.
Deborah Horn?
Horn.
Come on, fuck this. Come on.
Cairo 7. Appreciate it, Deborah.
It's always good to hear.
All right.
Thank you so much.
You have a good day.
Oh, my thought it came and it went.
I didn't realize we hadn't done that yet. Get all together?
You think you can take a picture of us?
What's sad is the guy right there who Big Al was about to take a picture of him and I. He doesn't like the channel anymore. He got sick of me going against the flat Earth, but that's okay. He came all the way up from Arizona that day to so did Big Al. They were all in town from Arizona. He came with his mom, but he didn't like all the flat Earth bashing. Sorry, flat Earth's a psyop. I won't stop saying it. It is, but again, just to keep going down memory lane, the reason we got to get out there and pound pavement. Imagine had this, well, it did happen, but I mean, imagine had this been put on, the nightly news. Crazy conspiracy theorist cuts off, what was it, NBC News team at Washington mass shooting site spewing about Gematria 38 and death. I mean, that would have been awesome if that happened, because the next day it would have blown up their headline about a 38-year-old killing a 38-year-old on the 38th day of the year. But I'll admit that the execution here wasn't perfect. But again, that's why we need to get out there and do it more, because the more we do it, the better we'll get at it. The more people will be inspired. They'll learn. We'll learn the tricks of a trade from each other. Again, but it takes resources to get out and do these things. Gas is expensive right now. Time, energy, equipment. Hey, you never know when the news media is going to smash your camera again. If it takes another fall like this one, it'll surely be done for. But again, I did learn my lesson, though, from Seattle. So, here we are about a year and a half later. The lesson's been learned. And I would love to get out in front of news media every day like this and interrupt their broadcast and drop some real knowledge. And it's what needs to happen, and a lot more people need to do it. But here we go.
Well, if you're live right now, we should get out the real word. People of Richland, 322 days ago on March 22nd, 322, there was another shooting at a Kroger store. No, I'm not, because the news should actually inform people. You want to put me on it? She's getting her information through the phone.
If you can't tell, that she's doing her news broadcast right now after she finished. I was talking to her before she went on, but she's doing her news. She was getting her news information through her cell phone. It's like anybody could do this. Your notes come from the New York office, and that we looked at all this, and not to mention it was a Jesuit writer at the top of it. Again, people who are watching this in real time. This used to be a live stream on YouTube. They got taken down. They took it down due to medical misinformation. And I did get we'll skip to that, because that was an important thing from this as well. We got the man on the scene who's quoted in every paper from the New York Times to the rest of them, Commander Lee, to admit on camera that he had not seen the crime scene with himself. He had to stay outside with the rest of the city police while the feds were inside. And Yet he's the one telling all the papers what supposedly happened, even though he hasn't seen it himself. I mean, this is why everybody needs to be doing this all over the nation when this happens in their community, because it's the same shit going on all over. Manufactured stories for a manufactured agenda to take away rights and liberties. But hold on, let's watch this, because this goes on more and more. Just understand I was interrupting their news broadcast, and they were not happy about it.
You guys must be legit. People are reaching to Skull and Bones looking to it.
Now, did you see how there was a cut there and it went silent? That was where YouTube dropped a little bit of my stream. It could have been because the technology went out, but I had good bars there. I talked for a little bit. They completely got cut out right there, and then it came back, and I didn't. This was after I downloaded it. There's been many a times where we've done a live stream, and then when you download it, you know, there's chunks missing that got edited out. They edited some of the information I said there about Skull and Bones. But anyway, here's what remains.
Tim Russert said to Bush and Kerry in 2004 about 322 and the secret society that runs this nation, Skull and Bones. Has a lot to do with Kroger that owns Fred Meyer and King Soopers, shooting on March 22nd, 322, and then 322 days later, here we are again. Here we are again. Skull and Bones is known as the Brotherhood of Death. This might be too kooky for all you guys who are used to watching the nightly news, but death in Gematria equals 38. Colorado's the 38th state. Here we are in the 38th day of the year. I need to leave? Oh, hey, peace. Why do I need to leave?
Because you're in our way and you're interfering with our job.
Interfering with your job?
Your place of work and interfere with what you're doing.
You know why I don't have a job? Because I don't want to be a good slave and order follower for tyranny.
I don't care what you want to do.
Well, you should care. You should care what I want to do.
I don't.
I'm here doing a justice for the people of this world. Nobody cares about you and your salary.
I don't care about my salary either. I care.
You know what Nazi soldiers used to say? You know what Nazi soldiers used to say? I'm doing my job. I'm getting my paycheck.
Actually, I'm doing my job.
Yeah, just like a Nazi soldier used to say. Here's another fucking genius, you guys. She's about to go live here. I'm gonna be respectful. Let's get it out. I'll help get out the word. Let's hear the truth. Fresh from her cell phone. Here, she's got it.
Turn it off.
Uh-oh, his camera ran out of battery. Here comes a pro, you guys. Watch how she does it. She's going to report the facts right from her cell phone. Hey, did you see the crime scene in there before you report on it? Are you just going to tell people what came through your cell phone, or did you see it with your own eyes? You ever think about what you're doing?
Hi, Tracy. Yeah, I'm on. You're at the scene right now. I'm right by the.
So,
They did have buses here earlier that had the victims inside. People that were.
I wasn't going to interrupt you guys, but this is propaganda, and this camera man just actually damaged my camera. I mean, what a rude cameraman. I thought I was going to be quiet here.
The store, and they told me that they didn't hear gunshots at first. They thought that it was a popping of a.
King Soopers, you guys. King Soopers, March 22nd. King Soopers, March 22nd. Today's 322 days later. Understand, Skull and Bones, that's their number. They're the ones running the agenda to shut down the Second Amendment. These people are propaganda artists, and they're lying to you, and they're telling you that they got the facts because it just came through their cell phone. Thanks for putting me on, sir. I hope we're reaching the people of Richland tonight. You guys look up Gematria. D's the fourth letter, E's the fifth, A's the first, T's the 20th, H is the eighth. Add it up, 38. Here we are on the 38th day of the year. You should see how often they do these stories of death in 38, like Colorado's the 38th state.
I've seen dead bodies of people getting dragged out of scenes.
Here?
Do you want to say these things to the people's families because they are emotionally traumatized?
Well, don't you think they want to know who the shooter is?
Okay for you to do this.
Don't you think they really want to know who the shooter is and who's responsible?
Figure it out when the police tell
How
you.
come the media's put out an image? Why is the media's image look like it's from 1980 of the shooter? Have you seen it yourself? 40 years old photo. Hey, asshole, what's your name? NBC. Hey, you damaged my camera. I'll be after you, buddy. The fruitcake with the slave muzzle on. Good job.
Okay, so anyway, we were there. We interviewed a lot of police that day, but I finally got Commander Lee. Let me go to the Commander Lee part. Let's get Commander Lee on here. Oh, this guy was a piece of work. If you guys missed when I called into their police station, they put that piece of work on. Here's Commander Lee. Okay. Again, this is why we got to get out there and get things. We get real information. Let's listen to Commander Lee talk about, again, go back and look at all the articles for the February 7th, 2022 Fred Meyer mass shooting. Commander Lee is who's quoted in every story, giving you the details of the what happened, and he hasn't even seen it himself. Here we go.
How you doing, officer?
I'm Commander Lee.
Commander Lee, thank you. I am just trying to find out what really happened here today in the Fred Meyer, because I know for a fact that 322 days ago on March 22nd at a different Kroger store in Colorado, there was a shooting hoax reported as a real tragedy. Now, I'm not saying this is a hoax here today, but I'm trying to find any real information that an actual shooting happened here today.
Okay, other than what I'm going to tell you, is like what I put out in the release, yes, there was an actual crime that was occurred here today. There was a murder. And there's another individual that's still in the operating room as far as receiving care. So yes, there was actual crime that occurred here today.
Have you guys arrested the shooter?
We're still looking for the individual.
There's a lot of cops here at the scene. You think they'd be out in the city looking for him. And I notice there's no paramedics here either.
Right, because there's no victims currently here.
Okay, so you already took care of the victims.
So the first thing that right away.
So have you noticed that the image put out in the media looks very dated and old of the supposed suspect? Have you seen the image put out? I mean, it literally looks like it's from 1980, the photo.
No, do you have a copy of it? So I can see it?
I mean, if you just turn on any news site, there's one image put out everywhere. It doesn't matter if it's CNN, Fox News, all of them. They all have the same blurry, old image. And this is just par for the course with these mass shootings. They always put out these images that look super old, and here we are in the age of HD cameras.
Well, I can tell you this. The image that I released to the media was the image that was taken of him today from the store.
Could you show me that image in person?
Sure.
I would love to see that. I would appreciate that.
That was one image that was released of him. I can't help their securities or their cameras. As much as I'd love for them to have 4K, I can't control that, right? That's the other image.
That's the one that all the media is using. That's the exact one. I mean, that's a terrible image.
Can't help that, man.
Nobody in the store with their cameras gets a snap of the guy?
Not that I'm aware of at this point, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah. So you saw the deceased with your own eyes?
No.
Did anybody?
Well, I can tell you that I saw him on video, but not in person.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, I watched the act occur on video, so I can attest to you that there was a crime that occurred.
Okay. Just something to look into that I find real funny. You know Amazon, Jeff Bezos' company?
I know Amazon.
They remade a show in the time of the pandemic. They put it out in 2020. It's called Utopia. It's about a conspiracy of billionaires faking a pandemic in the news and then killing off the populace. Their plan is to depopulate with a vaccine, but one of the storylines is also how these billionaires are raising people to be mass shooters and shootings. It's just a really messed up show. They raise these two twins to use for propaganda. They kill off one, and they don't let the people in the news know that it's actually a twin. Just a really messed up show, and you think, why would you remake this in the time of the pandemic? But I just look at all this stuff, and I'm thinking, okay, there's a serious pattern with the mass shootings. The facts never really add up. I know that what they did last year in Colorado was a total hoax based on the supposed truth or the supposed images they put out of the shooting, which is a complete joke. I mean, just like it's Stoneman Douglas, they put out an image of a dummy, and you're supposed to think that's a real person. It's a joke. So some of these things are not real, and we're being lied to that people are being killed. And that's why I'm here today. Did anybody really die at this one, or is it the same thing? You know, is it just scaring a town? Is it spreading the fear?
I completely understand where you're coming from and wanting to do your due diligence to follow up on those types of things, but I can attest to you that somebody is dead here.
Okay, you saw it through a video.
Family, no, that's all I'll go into as far as that, but yes.
Well, I do appreciate you, Commander Lee, and I appreciate you sharing the images. I'm just surprised because I guess I understand that the surveillance cameras aren't as good, but you just think at this day and age, there'd be a better way to have photos when these things happen, because it's always like that, this old, grainy, dated image. So, all right, Commander Lee, appreciate it. You have a good one.
So again, he didn't see it with his own eyes. He saw it through what was sent to him on a video on his phone. And again, you have, I mean, outside the scene, all the state police are there. The feds are in the building. And then again, they said the feds arrested the shooter 11 hours after. They had to put 11 in it, just like how your story in Alabama, all by the numbers. They got him out on the 11th day. But it's just the same stuff over and over. But again, nobody, the news is reporting what they're getting through their phone, which is coming from their New York office. So literally, New York's putting out the information for the shooting in Washington that's getting reported on the TV. The police officers, the city police have to stand down and stand in the parking lot. You think there'd be a manhunt, but they're all there. Even the helicopter was parked there. They're not even looking for the person with the helicopter. And, there's just a big police presence at the scene. But then no one has any answers. No one's been inside. There was a dude who seemed like he was some foreign intelligence agency if you watch the full video. He was dressed real nice. He had a South African accent. It's like, who's this guy that's here? Just filming quietly the whole time. But again, these are the things you see when you're actually there. When you talk to people and you just realize how it is. It's like, this is how they pull this off. Everybody's just following their orders. Everybody's minding their ranks, standing down to the feds. And I did send, you guys saw the email I sent to Chris Lee about a week after that happened, or maybe it was a few days after. Sent him a nice email. And no follow-up, LSU. Let's go back down memory lane at LSU. You can hear everything, but the camera is sideways, so you're going to have to deal with that. But again, this is what happens when you get out and you interact with community. You engage. We got to talk to people on the actual LSU football team, all kinds of young people, school security, professors. And again, the only problem is it's not happening more often. There just needs to be this... If we can create communities, city to city, there can be people that get out and do this stuff all the time at LSU and so many other universities, University of Oklahoma, engaging with people as much as possible. This is something that needs to be maximized in the world. Right now, it's at a minimum. You can change settings, right? Right now, activism about important knowledge that could change the world. The activism on the bar right now is super low. It's at close to a minimum. Man, we need to get it maximum, blasting. And here, I'm gonna put this clip on. Let's just watch it all the way through and just remind what it looks like, just interacting with people in the community, how people are receptive to it. People were very receptive at LSU. There was only one bad experience, and it was with these two guys that were both probably freshmen, they were just two internet trolls in person at the LSU campus. But outside of that, just tons of positive interactions. We even got to interact with a guy at the end who was a lot like Forrest Gump. And at first he was denying, but then after a few examples, his mind was kind of blowing, and you saw he was like, okay, maybe I need to look into this. But check this out.
So what's the significance of this?
Nancy Parker
got in a plane crash.
150 days before the championship game, right? And this was the 150th college football season, just like you got the 150s on the jersey. Her name, Nancy Parker, equals 54. So does New Orleans. The championship game this year was on a date with 54 numerology. Tyshawn died, to come back to this, he died at age 25. How many points did Clemson score?
I don't want to say it's crazy.
They scored 25. Tyshawn equals 25. So does death. So 25, right? Clemson should have had more than 25 points. The rest of that
surprised they did. Yeah, because I think fourth quarter they didn't score anything.
Because the over-under was at 67.5, man. They kept it right at 67. The refs threw that phantom flag. There wasn't any offensive pass interference. They took a long touchdown off the board for Clemson to keep it there. And there's a reason 67 is a special number, but it's also the 19th round of 2019 season. Anyway, Trevor Lawrence came in 25-0 as a starter. Trevor Lawrence came in 25-0 as a starter, right? He lost and came 25-1. That's like the number 251, which is the 54th prime number. This year, the Super Bowl, number 54 on the Chiefs, the Super Bowl's on his 251st day of his age. First Sunday of the 54th season was scheduled for September 8th, the 251st day of the year, right? So anyway, Nancy Parker had this big 54 number, and this is how it is. People get chosen that have the numbers that represent the ritual. So it's the 54th Super Bowl coming up to right all football. Guess how many days? Hold on. From Joe Burrow's birthday to Super Bowl 54 days. And was there a Joe that played for the 49ers and Chiefs? Joe Montana, right? Guess what his name equals in Gematria? 54. Joe Montana, 54. And if you go back, man, Joe Montana won his first Super Bowl number 16, right? He wore 16. SF on the Niners helmet. S breaks down to 1 in numerology. F is 6. They beat the Bengals, who could only score 16 points. Then Joe Montana's next Super Bowl was Super Bowl 19 against Miami, where the Super Bowl is this year. He won that one 38 to 16.
Let me ask you a question. So you think that the numbers some kind of way for play events or something like that?
Absolutely.
Everybody want to know how it works. This deal here in the back of my head, I'm like, it's something's behind this because you know, I just couldn't feel like you're standing here and you're like, gee, I have a feeling someone's behind me, but I can't see them.
Right,
but somebody, you keep feeling it. What you doing here? But I'm like, something's there. And with this case, that's why I was gonna take a picture. I'm like, I freaking knew it.
You can take
something with
this one right here. They hit all these 25 ages up. So let me tell you why this is going on. First of all, why are they doing this? Why letters and numbers?
Yeah, as y'all talking, I'm just thinking about the Kobe
right here. Yeah.
I can tell you all about Kobe.
As y'all talking, I'm just thinking about the Kobe.
I can give you a full breakdown on Kobe, man.
So next time you guys come, it'll be here, probably.
I was here all day yesterday.
Yeah, it's a big case.
I'm thinking because the college will probably be quieter tomorrow since the weekend, I'm going to go down to New Orleans and go educate there. I'm going to go to Fifth Ward and educate about Weeby. I'm going to go in front of this news station. I got t-shirts for all these people too. And I'm going to be at the Pelicans game, educate about this. But this is the thing. The reason they're doing this with letters and numbers is Kabbalah. Kabbalah has a...
Ancient Kabbalah is
well, all the way back to Tablet.
Zion. Yeah.
Zionism.
Yeah, Judaism, yeah.
So, in Kabbalah's Book of Formation, the opening paragraph, you open the book, the first page, it says, God created the world with letters, numbers, and words. That's how it begins. Just like in Genesis, when the Bible begins, God speaks the world into existence over numbered days. So there's a reason for this. What I think is essentially these people, they want to be God. They want to play God. They want to do what God does.
That's what the Zoe say. That would be like the most time.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
So Adam Silver and David Stern and Jews?
Yeah.
I never knew that, man.
Oh,
David Stern's death sinks.
I mean, who would think to even know their background who was a sports fan? Like, who would think of it? You know what I mean?
So David Stern died right at the beginning of the year at age 77, right? Do you know what David Stern's quote is in 1984 when he became the commissioner?
84, Reagan was president, and he had the New Orleans World's Fair in 1980.
But this is one of the first things David Stern said. He said the NBA is not about basketball. It's about making stars. That was his quote when he became commissioner. And then you think that's the era of Jordan. Of course, Kobe came to mirror Jordan.
And Bird, what's his name?
Larry Bird. Birdie. All the
Bird.
I can tell you so much. So anyway, okay. Did you guys watch ESPN by chance the day of the Zion Williamson sweepstakes?
No, I don't have
All day they had Jewish rabbis on praying for their cities to land Zion.
Really?
They did.
They did, man. All day. So, and I was like, okay, people aren't getting this, man. I mean, they're putting it in people's face because May 14th, the day of the Zion sweepstakes, was the day in history that Zionist Israel was officially established.
1948. Israel was established as a nation.
On May 14th.
That is so 71 years later. And the word Talmud is 71 if you know anything about that. So on the 71-year anniversary, you get this ritual. And this is the 74th NBA season, right?
Okay, yeah.
So just using the alphabet, okay. I'm going to show you guys something with Kobe. There's 4 base ciphers. You want to know all 4, but the most simple is just the alphabetical. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, up to Z is 26, there's 26, right? All of these things sum to 74 using that cipher. English, Gematria, Masonic. Masonry is based on Kabbalah.
Right. You keep talking. I'm
Jewish,
going to show you something you might have heard.
occult, holiday. Now the next most pure cipher is the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. Independence Day 74 on that one.
Oh, no. I'm just some paper.
Nah, just a couple, man.
So here, I want to show you guys since you asked about Kobe, because the Kobe.
Yeah, I mean, that was trash. That was nasty.
I was telling you about it.
That was the nastiest death of a celebrity death that I've probably ever.
And then,
what I've been preaching for years is just watch out for when big champions come around and ceremonies like the Grammys and Oscars, because there's always celebrity death. Normally they're not as big as Kobe, because Kobe's huge, right? And he's so young, so people just aren't expecting that. But okay, what happened the day before Kobe died?
I don't know.
Come on, something big happened in basketball the day before Kobe died.
Oh, LeBron passed.
He passed it.
Yeah.
And where did he pass him at?
Philadelphia.
And where's Kobe from?
Philadelphia.
no, he's from LA, right?
No. Kobe's from Philly. His dad, Joe Jelly Bean, right?
But he's from Philly.
Yeah, so you have to think about that right there. That's a 1 in 82 chance because the Lakers only play one game in Philly out of an 82 game schedule. So that's just barely more than a % chance that LeBron will be passing Kobe in his hometown, right?
And all of a sudden, Kobe died.
He did. Now check this out. I put out a video.
It's crazy to think, man. It's crazy.
So if you go to my channel, Gematria Effect News, before LeBron...
It's on what? It's on YouTube, bro?
Yeah, Gematria Effect News and Gematria Effect Sports. So I put out a video before LeBron played his game to pass Kobe, and I said why he was going to pass Kobe on that day in Philly. The date was January 25th, right? That's the day LeBron passed Kobe. The date was 25/1, like 251, the 54th prime. We just talked about this. Kobe's full name, Kobe Bean Bryant, equals 54. So I put out a video. I said, so this is why the day, if you go back and watch the game was close. It was a competitive game. It was 48-51. And then you could just see that the Lakers went into tank mode, throwing the ball out of bounds. Dumb offensive fouls. Just shots with no follow through, just hoisting up bricks. Next thing you know, the score is 52-74. They're waiting. And remember, it's the 74th NBA season. So LeBron gets the ball, he's coming down, and I was like, oh my God, is LeBron going to pass on the 54th point? Sure enough, wide open lane, nobody even plays defense, lays it in, the stat goes up. LeBron passes Kobe on the 54th point. Kobe Bean Bryant, 54, the date 25/1, like 250 on the 54th prime. Now, the other thing that I called attention to before it even happened is it was exactly 26 days after Kobe's birthday, right? Now, this matters because 26 is a very special number. The four-letter name of God, the Tetragrammaton, YHWH as it's commonly written, that equals 26 in Hebrew and in English.
That's the name of God in Hebrew, right?
Right.
So the golem, I don't know if y'all ever heard of the Jewish golem, they supposed to write Enoch on the name of God in the poem. That's what golem. It takes a Kabbalah to bring up golems.
Yes, there's even a movie on Netflix. Golem is giving away all this.
I really do believe that some rituals in ancient Jewish Kabbalah, I think they really can make a golem. I think it's possible.
It's possible.
Because to some people, it might be like, oh no, it's weird. If people that really study the Bible read Revelation 13:13, we say He gave life into the beast, that the image of the beast shall speak. It has to be something that came to life. And that was told when we were sitting. Remember Frosty the Snowman? Oh, he came to life one day. Something went to the magic camp.
Yeah.
The snowman is basically a golem, something that's there, we put life into.
Yeah, golems are like represented by like spiritual.
Yeah, I believe golems. I believe it's possible to in the right ritual to create a golem.
Like the commercial, $3.1 million budget.
Yeah. Did you hear this one? If you take the letters A, B, C, D, E, F, G, the alphabet, and each by 6, A6, B6, and go all the way, you will get 666. That's your computer. I'm sorry. If you go computer, if you go COMPER.
Oh, no, computer. And if you do it in reverse, internet 666.
Yeah, it'll come up to 666.
I bet whoever taught you that might have
This is back in 2005.
Oh, okay.
Were you
That's
around?
before me. That's before me then. But yeah, that is
Yeah, he told me. I did it wrong, but yeah, the format is because C, add that up, COMPUTER, you get up with 666 equals to computer.
Mac priced their first computer at $666, their first consumer computer, and now you know why. And when Kobe Bryant had his 81-point game, that was his 666th career game.
And he shot 66% from the field.
He did.
Yep.
And second of all, I told you Kobe Bean Bryant equals 54, which is true. If you flip the alphabetic order and run it in reverse, Kobe Bean Bryant equals 81.
By using this thing here, he did September 11th. I forgot what he came up with. By using this formula, he said, "Let me show you another one." It's the same thing. The A is 6, and then B is 12, all the way up.
That's called Sumerian Gematria.
Yeah, he did September 11th. I forgot what he came up with.
I'll tell you.
Serious, he came up with that. Yeah.
Let me finish telling you about Kobe Bryant, and then I'll tell you all about September 11th. Come blow your mind. So, again, four-letter name of God, Tetragrammaton, right? In Hebrew and in English, it sums to 26. The name Bryant's also 26. Jordan's 26. God's 26. Game's 26. So when LeBron passed Kobe, it was 26 days after LeBron's birthday. Then what happens on January 26th? Kobe dies. And he fell to 4th in scoring, like the four-letter name of God, the Tetragrammaton, right? And
the fall of 26.
Here, I gotta show you guys this so you can see this as I explain this to you. It'll be easier with the
So
visual.
Kobe Bean Bryant, without Bean, Kobe Bryant also equals 41. And the night that he scored 81 points, the rest of his team combined for 41
Just
points.
like in Kobe's last game when he scored 60, his team scored 101, so the rest of his team
Also
scored 41. The day before Kobe died, I was doing this presentation of the day before Kobe died and before LeBron even passed him. I reminded people about how sports are conducted by rituals and people die, and I talked about the death of Daryl Dawkins.
When you say ritual, what do you mean?
I'm just going to interview him. These are rituals, just like
all this week in the back of my head, I kept saying something funny's going on. This, with all the sports stuff, but I didn't know what the connection.
It's all. You have to realize that all of the American sports are credited to Freemasonry here. I'm going to build on this. I just want you guys to see the four base ciphers that you have to know for this system. I'm going to explain it to you. So can you see these four values of Kobe Bryant? This first cipher, 113. Kobe was drafted in round 1. He was the 13th pick. And he made his debut on November 3rd in the NBA. First game he ever played was November 3rd, 113. In this same cipher, Michael Jordan's 113. So this is the alphabetic order, the first cipher. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3. If you go back in December, Kobe was actually in the national news. There was a bad accident supposedly in California, and he was right there, and he got out of his car and directed traffic to help the situation. He made the news for this.
Really? Okay.
It was 113 days from Kobe's birth, that story. The story's probably not true. It's probably foreshadowing of what's coming in the next month, another accident story. So the next cipher is the alphabetic order of the rules of numerology. So A is still 1, B is still 2, C is still 3. Where this cipher changes is when you get to the double-digit letter. So J's the 10th letter, right? So you take the numerology of 10, which is 1 plus 0 is 1, so J becomes 1. K, the 11th letter, becomes 1 plus 1 is 2. L, the 12th letter, 1, follow? Let's make it a single digit. So Kobe Bryant's 41, right? Now they said everyone's reported the same thing, that Kobe's helicopter took off at 9:06 and crashed at 9:47. Everyone's reporting the same thing. That's 41 minutes later, right?
Right.
Now Joanne Buss of the Lakers died December 16, 2018. That was 41 days before Kobe's death. And Shaq, his great teammate who played here at LSU, purple and gold, Shaq's birthday is 41 days from Kobe's death. So, there's more to it too. Just like when Kobe scored his 81, the rest of his team scored 41 points. When he played his last game, he scored 60 points. There was 101 total points scored by the team. 41 points. And people made fun of me because I showed the day of that. I've been talking about 41 and Kobe for years. I've been doing this for years. If you go back, if you go to GematriaEffect.news,
it's in the book.
It is in the
So
book.
you keep saying 41. So do you think it's possible that a number this week could be assigned to a person? Or affiliated with a number?
Oh, absolutely.
Because my roommate, that number is 328. Oh, that girl is connected to 328.
There's numbers that are really honestly connected with all of us. They're all that can really become erased.
Okay, that's the end of the video. And again, that's the beauty of being out there in the community. Just so many, it's just nice to interact with people in person and see what people on the street know. And again, compliments to all people, but in all of my pounding pavement experience, the most likely people to interact with you on the street and ask more questions and want to know something are black men. Every time without exception. And I know why that is. It's because they have been the most oppressed by this system. They are the most tormented by this system on the average. They already know things are wrong and they're looking for answers. And we got answers, and we've definitely figured out who's behind it and why, and people need to know. And, just yesterday, May 9th, what are we talking about again on 5/9? Itachi posted on his Twitter first thing in the morning. We will definitely be reading about the deaths of black males today. And sadly, he was right. By the way, just with regards to those reporters before I was showing the LSU clip, again, teaching them about 38, then the next day the headline is 38-year-old Justin Kroomba is the victim from the shooting on the 38th day of the year, and then they had the 38-year-old Aaron Christopher Kelly as the shooter. So, again, this is why the knowledge needs to get out there. If people learn it, they don't deny it because the stuff just keeps happening. I mean, if you've ever learned my lesson about why they kill black men by the code of 59 and 42, There's a gazillion examples since I first taught that back in 2014. That's when I figured it out. August 2014. I've talked about it so many times since. It's continued to happen month after month. It's just you learn this knowledge. It's undeniable what's going on. That's why we need to get the undeniable knowledge in people's pocket. In Oklahoma City, just so many positive interactions. And, you know, I could show you this whole... well, here, let's get the chats vote. Do you guys want to watch this interaction I had with people in a restaurant in Oklahoma City? Just an unexpected interaction. People that asked me what was up. If you want to watch this, just the short story is that they were really receptive and listened very well. It got the waiter and the bartender interested as well because they overheard. And the bartender, he was the most excited about it. He had to know where to go to subscribe to YouTube, where to get the books at, where my website was. He wanted all the information. And here, so if you guys want me to play another clip that's about 12 minutes, just things that happen when you're out in the community, I can play another one. Give me a 1 if you want me to play it. Give me a 2 if you want me to skip the clip. It's about 12 minutes long. 1 to watch. You guys are all writing yes, so maybe maybe yes is just like 1. But some people might have already saw it because I did upload it. Audio is already playing. I don't know how you mean that, Nathan. Well, it looks, so far everybody's saying yes. I'm not seeing any no's. We can play it again. This was a good interaction, but okay, we'll play it then. So this wasn't like an expected or planned thing. It's just I was in the restaurant. We just gotten done meeting up a small group of us. This was the Friday, but before the upcoming Tuesday, or maybe it was Saturday. It might have been Saturday, Friday or Saturday, but yeah, anyway, we'll play the clip here. Here we go.
Facing is if you spell out Ignatius of Loyola, the founder of the Jesuits. Again, April 19th is his day. He became the leader of the church. If you spell out Ignatius of Loyola, it equals 201. If you write out the Jesuit order, it equals 201. We're at the time of the first Jesuit pope right now, Pope Francis. His birth name is Jorge Mario Bergoglio. If you spell out his name, it equals 201. He's also the first pope to ever live in Suite 201 of the Vatican. And if you look into the Jesuit history, they were saved by Catherine the Great in Russia. So you know that what's going on in Russia right now in 201. It's not an accident that Biden and Putin met 201 days. The Jesuits have their own calendar. The 201st day of the Jesuit calendar is Pearl Harbor Day. That's when Biden and Putin met to discuss Ukraine. And the whole military conflict began in the Donbass region, which equals 201. This is another story. But the point is, the Jesuits love this 201 number. Guess what Timothy McVeigh equals? 201. It sure does. Guess what Terry Lynn Nichols equals? 201. You know what a military personnel file is called? It's called a 201 file. The Jesuits are a military order that serves the Roman Catholic Church. Supposedly Timothy McVeigh didn't want to get caught, so what did he do? He went and drove on the freeway with a license plate, or a car with no license plate. But where does that make sense? From Gematria, Oklahoma, I know there's a lot of troopers on the highway. But anyway, he was in a Mercury Marquis. Want to guess what Mercury Marquis is? It sure does. Now, do you know what Timothy McVeigh was sentenced to there? He was sentenced at June 13th, 97. That's the day that leaves 201 days left in the year. That's also the day in history that the military, what do they call it? The military propaganda department was established June 13th, 42. The day leaving 201 days left in the year. By the way, the first ever use of the word propaganda in history is from the Catholic Church in 1622. They invented that word propaganda. But Timothy McVeigh was put to death 3 months before 9/11, on June 11th. You know about Operation Amalgam Virgo? Look up Operation Amalgam Virgo when you get a chance. The federal government simulated Al-Qaeda attacking the United States and the World Trade Centers on June 1st, 2001. 102 days before the attack that they say lasted 102 minutes. Of course, 102 is the reflection of 201. It was called Operation Amalgam Virgo. Operation Amalgam Virgo. The reason that name matters, Virgo is when 9/11 happened, right? September is Virgo, when the Virgin Mary's birthday is. An amalgam is a metal that's mixed with mercury. An amalgam is a metal mixed with mercury. Virgo in astrology is ruled by the planet Mercury.
Do you know what Mercury is in Roman mythology? It's the trickster. It's the chief of deception and trickery. The definition of Jesuitism in the 1800s, because a lot of people don't like the Jesuits, the whole definition in the original dictionaries of this country of Jesuitism is trickery and deception.
All right, you got my head spinning. Time out. So you're here. They stopped you because they've heard of you. So rewind and tell me what's your theory is that they stopped you?
They don't want me to talk. They don't want me to. So actually back there later, I got them to tell me a little bit more. They had a meeting knowing that I was coming into town. I'm a social media personality. I've had the feds come to my house. I mean, they don't like what I do. They don't like the things that I expose. All the time. I keep creating new accounts. I've been banned so many times, it's ridiculous. I was raised Lutheran. I gotta be honest. I won't say that I don't believe in Jesus Christ. I definitely believe there's a creator. No, I won't say that I don't. I definitely agree that there's a creator. I think we're all God's children. We're all God's people.
But you don't think Christ came? You don't think Christ?
I think that's entirely possible. I don't know for sure. I'm just being honest.
Who can know for sure, right?
Right. So I consider myself spiritual. I think we should all be here for our divine purpose. I'm about truth and justice. I was raised Lutheran. I mean, I'm about the same thing Jesus was about, honestly. Jesus was about truth and justice, right? That statue they have there, Jesus weeping with his back to it, to me it feels like a mockery. There's a lot more that I can tell you about this, but I'm sure you guys are all big Joe Biden fans. Am I right? You guys are all big Joe Biden fans? I'm joking. Do you remember? Yeah. Do you remember that Joe Biden's son, Beau Biden, died at 46? Do you remember this? Beau Biden died at 46 in 2015.
Is that not 201?
He died exactly 201 days before the Pope's birthday. And let me tell you something. You can look this up. The president of Georgetown, Jesuit University, Leo Jeremiah O'Donovan, did the funeral for Beau Biden at 46 and the inauguration for Joe Biden. And what day is inauguration day? It's 20/1, like 201. His name, Leo Jeremiah O'Donovan, you want to guess what it equals? 201. Exactly. He's acing the test. Do you know that when Joe Biden became senator-elect in 72, what happened a couple weeks after he was elected? His wife and daughter died in a car crash. They died on Limestone Road. I'll give you one guess what that equals. Do you know what the pyramids are made out of?
201 stone.
They're made out of limestone. Do you know how many layers are remaining of the bricks of the pyramids? Do you want to guess what Great Pyramid of Giza equals?
So what is, okay, so bring this also, laser this down, focus this for us, and more people in the bar. What are we supposed to, what's our takeaway? Well, that's a media personality. I gotta be able to tell the story, but it's gotta have an influence.
Go to Gematria Effect News.
What?
Gematria Effect News on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
And this guy's got about.
I get to delete all the time.
Yeah,
so you gotta look for the new ones every month. But
and you can learn all about this.
How long have you been? Did you come from Seattle with
it?
No, I come from New York.
So you met him here.
We know each other from online.
Yep. We all do the same,
We work for the same purpose.
See? That's his YouTube channel. Well, his YouTube channel.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot. He just threw down a lot of information on it.
Yeah.
Right? We were just saying. Hey,
I'll turn that up.
We're just saying, why has this guy got a speaker around his neck?
Yeah. He was met by resistance the minute he walked in here.
No, that's nuts.
When he walked over there. And then he didn't tell you, but he was out there again today. A guy in a black suit walks up to him, puts a manila folder on his chest, and said, "Here," and walked away. He opens it up. Zach, tell him about your manila envelope.
So, a young man drove from Norman, Oklahoma, goes to the college. He signs down there. So I was having a conversation with a young man who's a college student. And while I was talking to him, another man just walked by. He was probably around 50 years old, but he put it into my chest and he said, "Zach, this is for you or something like that. He gave me this manila envelope, and he just walked by. I mean, he just put it into my chest and just walked by. And I joked to the young guy, I said, I have a feeling this isn't a donation. I don't think that was his order.
Is it full of money?
I wish it was.
It said, basically says, Mr. Hubbard, you will be arrested if you interfere with anything over there. Yeah. That's not, no. That means he's on to something that they don't want no one to know about. So.
Well, what's it all mean?
What does this code mean?
You said, what does it all mean?
You mean on here?
No, like, what does it all mean? Like, all this, you know, you've been telling them.
So, again, to me, my interpretation...
I can't spend the rest of the night with you.
No, I got it. So, again, Kabbalah is a spiritual belief system. It's the belief of how God operates and how we can connect with God. My interpretation... If you look at the Kabbalah, there's something called the Cliff Law, which is about sorcery and having influence over people. So that's the way I see what they're doing. They're trying to control and have influence over society. You know what the name of it? If you guys don't know this, Washington, D.C., that land before the feds were there, was owned by a powerful Jesuit named Francis Pope, not to be confused with the first Jesuit Pope called Francis. He used to be called Rome on the Potomac. Georgetown, the Jesuit university, has been there longer than the federal government. So, anyway, I'm just trying to get people to see that, I mean, our Constitution says to protect ourselves from enemies, foreign and domestic, right? They're here. You guys know that Washington, D.C. has been an independent city-state since 1871? The name of that act equals 201. I forget what the name of it is off the top of my head. The name of that act equals 201. Lincoln gave a speech about the Civil War would have never happened without the sinister influence of the Jesuits. You know the Capitol insurrection of January 6th? The only Confederate statue in D.C. is the Albert Pike statue. That fell June 19th, exactly 201 days before the Confederate flag flew through D.C. for the symbolism. And do you remember why it fell? It fell because of the George Floyd riots. George Floyd's full name is George Perry Floyd, which equals 201. It was compared to the killing of a David Traore in Paris, France, where the Jesuits are from, which was exactly 201 weeks before his death on the 201st day of 2016. Who figured all this out? You mean who plans all this, or who figured out that all this is happening? Who figured all this is happening? I did. I started to look into it after 9/11. There were 2 towers that became 0, became 1.
So you've been all over it since for
20 years of research.
20 years. What were you before that?
A high school student?
Just to walk around the high school.
I was a freshman in college in 9/11.
So basically, in a nutshell,
give me that.
He's telling you that this whole reality that we're in is being controlled.
No, I believe that.
So we need to wake up before we're all under this tyranny. You see what's going on in China? That's going to be America.
It's coming here.
Well, it can come here.
Exactly.
If you let it. If you let it.
If you look at all the faces of what's going on, the leader of Canada, Jesuit, Trudeau, just like his father. Gavin Newsom, Jesuit, huge face of foreign race. Cuomo, Jesuit. Trump, Jesuit. Biden, Jesuit. You know where Biden's from? Scranton, Pennsylvania, where you know the hit show The Office on NBC? Do you know how many episodes it ran? You're good, man. On almost every episode, they show the Jesuit prep flag school from Scranton, where Biden went to school.
What's the positive part of this?
We know.
We're figuring it out? Somebody figured it out? Somebody figured it out?
That's it.
Humanity will wake up.
Oh, it's a big uphill climb, isn't it?
I gotta say, be glad you live in this part of the country. People are a lot better down here. It's funny, in Seattle, their nose up in the air and thinks a place like this is some white trash, and it's just like your city's so much nicer.
Those white trash won't even let you speak down here.
Seattle's a white trash, I'll tell you that much.
What you got? Yeah, the best. I'm glad we.
All right, you guys.
I'm glad
take it easy.
I'm glad you had your deal. Look at that.
Take it easy. Nice to meet you guys.
Where y'all from? Y'all can open it up. Are you a 3%er? What's that mean? I just see the 3 over there. Oh, no. So this is not.
YouTube channel for many years, so y'all just came out.
All right, so that was another interaction, and right after that, the bartender and the waiter got all the information, and I mean, you could tell, a lot of that group was engaged in getting it, and again, the only way things are ever going to change is with more interactions like this happening, and I mean, it's kind of a classic scene because it wasn't expected to happen. It happened because I was wearing the megaphone, and they wanted to know why a man was walking in the restaurant with a megaphone around his neck. Because I've been out in the town all day. And, man, I never got the top of my head burnt so bad before. Man, it was crazy. It was 90 degrees one day there, and then the next day it dropped down to 50 with a wind chill. Felt like it was like 35. But the 90-degree day, I was outside all day, and sweet lady cut my hair before I went down there. It was super short, so the sun could get through, and I had burnt scalp. But anyway, that day, that interaction, just the kind of thing that'll happen if there's groups and people going around, and you can tell there's kind of like, people are interested in a group. What's this group about? What's that sign about? Well, we have to make this happen in our communities. Start a buzz in our communities. And again, it's going to be a constant effort. For those of you guys who keep leaving comments and, I've gotten all sorts of emails and stuff and just so much negativity. See, Zach, you couldn't get enough people there. It's like, man, you guys cannot be complaining about what I tried to do and the people who showed up if you didn't show up. Again, essentially all you're doing is complaining about yourself. But for all of you guys who are still pessimistic and complaining, again, I think if we keep doing this, eventually we'll get to where we need to be. And, the other thing I want to remind you guys about is that doing this, sometimes it comes with some consequences, Since I started speaking out, I've had a lot of bad shit happen in my life. Business destroyed, house ransacked, car crash through the house, feds harassing, IRS auditors, state auditors harassing. You guys know I got a call from the IRS while I was down in Oklahoma City, and they demanded a piece of paperwork, and then I sent them the piece of paperwork, and now it's just, I don't want to talk about it. But, anyway, there's consequences for doing the work. And despite all the consequences and all the loss and all the sacrifice, I haven't let up at all. I just work harder and harder as time goes on. And, the other year, going down to try to interact with Antifa. And really, it seemed like I lost the battle in the moment, but ultimately we won the war because Antifa cleared out and Powell's Books was able to open up. But if you guys don't know, I mean, I got bear sprayed by Antifa in the face that day. And, I mean, again, for those of you guys who've never given anything to help out with the work, realize I've given a lot. And I don't ask for a lot. I really wish a huge amount of people would pledge $1 a month. If Sweet Lady saw it, because that's her argument all the time, you guys. Sweet Lady, she's like, Zach, you work so hard, and it's good that people support you, but there's still not nearly enough support like you need to make any difference. And I say, well, I'll never get it if I quit. But it does suck that 9 years have gone by and gotten a lot older, and the world's gotten even worse in this period of time, despite the increase in knowledge. And again, it doesn't mean that we've lost. It just means that we still need to figure out a way to motivate more people. So again, I'm saying, if we can hit the numbers we need to hit, and right now I'm saying, if we can get 10,000 people pledging $1 a month, I will do the whole lap around the U.S. and go city to city. And think about what that's going to cost for me. It's going to cost more than that in gas, lodging, food. Good thing I can fast all day and I don't have to eat much. But again, it's going to be expensive, you guys. But it needs to happen. And I want to see that there's people that are actually willing to pledge 3 pennies a day. That's not a lot to ask. If I'm going to go out and do this kind of stuff, at least back me up a little bit. I might need a hospital bill along the way. I might need to get bailed out of jail. I mean, again, these are the realities of the situation. So, if you guys missed, this was the scene in Portland after giving out free books to Antifa or offering them free books. We were having a conversation with Antifa that was in the national news for shutting down Portland's bookstore because they didn't want a book there. And I was having a conversation with them about if Antifa means anti-fascist, what's anti-fascist against going against freedom of speech and an author? And I was explaining to him, I said, honestly, what you're doing here has brought a lot more attention to this author, and he has the best-selling book on Amazon right now. So, I mean, you guys are actually helping him sell more books. And the thing was, there was a few people in the Antifa crowd who probably weren't like the federal agents that are behind masks there, but maybe just like people that are looking for a group and they're younger. They were younger people and maybe they think Antifa's cool or they just want to be a part of a group. They're looking for some community. But there were some people in that group who were listening and interacting and saying the right things and having the right questions. And there was other people in the group who were screaming back at me like, you're a white supremacist. And it's just like, white supremacist? I'm asking you. But there's crazy people in the Antifa group if you don't know about it. But anyway, it ended up in, well, I'll tell you everything that happened. But here's what it looked like. Keep in mind, it's cold in Portland, so this was not a warm experience. It's already cold outside. At least it was a clear day. But this is the community trying to help me get the bear spray off the face. Just to remind you guys that, you know, there's all sorts of reasons to support and that I put a lot into this. And we're not nearly as far ahead as we should be ahead. But let's get further by actually doing more. I'll do more, but I need you to help me out do more too. Here we go.
It's crazy. This is how you can tell what people are actually have principles. Because people that are extreme, they will do anything to the death. They will just get more and more crazy in the name of whatever it is.
We got Zach's back out here. It's craziness. We weren't starting no problems with nobody. We wanted to break up a fight.
I've been hit with tear gas up in Seattle. That's not nearly as bad as this, man. I'll take a tear gas right now. I got hit with tear gas on Vicksburg in 2012 up in Seattle.
I got hit by tear gas.
Well, this shit is a million times worse.
I thought Mason had shit on it.
Mason
got shit on tear gas.
Man. Wow. Craziness. But we're here. We're out here supporting it. How's books?
This I cannot get rid of the pain. I was trying to get on ready. 1, 2, 3.
We out here.
Yeah, that's
we out here.
Crazy.
Not trying to cause no trouble, but people want in trouble with us. Because people are programmed, unfortunately. And freedom is scary to people.
Instead of keeping the water in there.
Okay, so again, if you don't know how that happened, here's how it happened. A gentleman came with his wife, and he had both my books printed out. There were several people that were there, but this gentleman came and he was tall, right? I kind of feel like they picked him out because he was tall and the whole group could easily identify him. But I was just talking to him. He'd probably been there for not even 10 minutes. He had both my books printed out. He asked me to sign them, so I was signing his books, talking to him and his wife. And, you know, taking a break from the Antifa who I'd been there interacting with mostly besides the other people I talked to. But I was spending most of my time like trying to engage with Antifa and get them to think about what they were doing. And offering them free books. I brought a couple boxes full of books. And what happened was, while I was talking to this taller gentleman, okay, you can see the two men there with the masks on. The one with the gold sparkly mask. Let me make sure we're still good. Okay. The one with the gold sparkly mask, he had been there the whole time. He was a Black Lives Matter protester in with the Antifa group. And he was kind of a funny guy, and he was making fun of my clothes and saying my jeans were high waters, but he was listening, and I was telling him and teaching some Gematria things. And him and I were kind of having like it wasn't a confrontational interaction. It was kind of like a fun, but I wasn't being mean to him, but he kept like trying to like talk shit about me. And my jeans were a little bit high that day. So, I mean, the high waters comment might have been fair. But again, I'm not Mr. Fashion Forward. I don't really care that much about my clothes. Anyway, who showed up was the guy with the white mask on. He had just shown up. And what I found out afterwards is this guy, he's a Black Lives Matter protester too. He's built like a defensive lineman. This guy probably weighs over 300 pounds. And he just showing up. And when he showed up, the Antifa crowd started to scream that the man in the gray beanie who's backs to you, who showed up with his wife, who brought my books just to talk, and realized while he was getting my book signed, some of the Antifa people were trying to heckle him. And he's like, oh man, no, I'm not. No, he said, I don't have any. He said, I'm just here. I think his exact quote was, I'm here because I love you guys and I just want to share knowledge and information to make the world better or something like that. So anyway, all of a sudden the Antifa group starts screaming that he called one of the black guys the N-word. And this did not happen at all. I mean, this is completely false. And the man who showed up with the white mask, I guess there's a lot of videos of him mauling people all summer. Antifa's taken over Portland, if you didn't know. Half the city's shut down, boarded up. But this is the outfit that's been terrorizing the city. And that guy there's like the security force. He's a big, strong guy. And he immediately, so before this recording is from Andy No. He's the author that Antifa's protesting. He had some cameraman there to capture all this and promote it on his website as it was a fight over his book, which was completely false. Not to mention that guy was making the rounds on Fox News and CNN and Joe Rogan. And then he had to, I feel like his operation was part of this. Just the fact that he had a cameraman there to instigate it and upload it to his social media as soon as it happened. But anyway, before the camera started rolling, this guy in the white mask came charging at the guy in the gray beanie, and I jumped in front of him and I said, dude, I said, chill out. He did not say that. He said he's here out of love and to share knowledge and information. I said, read my book. It's like against racism and trying to show. So this guy was, and then he said back to me, he's like, get the fuck out of my way. I'm going to beat your ass or something like that. And I was like, dude, we're not here to fight. And he was too big. So he like shoved me out of the way and then he went through. And so none of this is captured on camera yet. But then I come back, and the thing is, you guys, you have to understand, there's a bunch of Antifa people around here, and they're holding like little, what do you call it, batons. They have weapons and stuff. And there's not that many of us, and most of the people who came out from me weren't like that big, just, nice, normal people. And there's more Antifa, plus they have weapons, plus they're there, to do what they've been doing, damaging all sorts of stuff. So it was a tough situation, but I wasn't going to let this guy get jumped by the whole group when he didn't do anything other than come there to have me sign his books. And then I'm feeling bad in the moment. I'm like, well, maybe I shouldn't have had people come and gather where the Antifa is. So anyway, I'm trying to go up and grab this guy, but not like in a forceful way to escalate him more, but just like, dude, chill. So anyway, you can watch what happens. And of course, this video is from somebody. So somebody titled this video, Zachary Hubbard Gets His Ass Beat by Antifa, LOL. Again, the person who'd make this video and put the Curb Your Enthusiasm music, I mean, do whatever you want from your couch surfing position. But understand, all I was doing here was laying myself out to keep this guy from getting jumped by the group. And I think because of my efforts, I did keep him from getting, pulverized in the pavement by a pack of people who were getting on him like hyenas. But, yeah, I took a beating too, and I ended up taking bear spray right in the face. And, again, all we were there doing was trying to have a civil conversation and offer free books. And it was going well. We're probably close to an hour into the event when this happened. So, and then this did ruin it. But, had more people come out, it might have been a different story too. There's more people there to help break up the altercation. But here's how this unfolded. So, again, somebody's put the Curb Your Enthusiasm music to it. But, again, I mean, the people that are cheering for this, essentially the people who like that this happened, I mean, what side are you guys on, really? Are you guys on the side of Antifa, which is a federal operation to bring needless chaos and disorder into our communities that essentially help build up the police surveillance state, because that's what all this agenda is building towards, But, yeah, again, I went out there and offered my time and my energy. Not to mention, it's over a 3-hour drive from where I am to Portland, each way. But time, energy, free donations, trying to get people to think about things that they need to think about. And, Antifa's cheap, man. I mean, it was totally cheap what they did here to accuse that guy. And the good news is that guy could protect himself. And if the longer video of that, he ends up getting away from the scene. He kind of gets out of there. But, again, so, and people are like, oh, you got shoved to the ground. So he said, yeah, that's because I was leaning back and just trying to keep him from being able to level into the other guy while everyone else was gathering him around him. So, again, I wasn't trying to fight. I was just trying to essentially use my body to keep the other guy from getting mauled by the surrounding Antifa pack around him. And, again, when the other guy came down and cheap shotted that guy and knocked him to the ground, and then the big guy was about to get on top of him again. I bought my guy a little bit of time. But it's just, I mean, this whole thing is a joke. And then, like I was saying, my point, if you were watching my work at the time, I was saying, I'm pretty sure everything was synced up with Andy No, with the protest and his book going to #1. And again, it just looks like it's all a controlled operation. Andy No, the controlled operation. Because what Andy No's famous for is somehow, some way, doxing a lot of Antifa. Somehow he figured out who these people are behind the mask. And ask yourself, how's that even possible? Not to mention he's claiming he's from Portland, Oregon, but has a British accent. And then he went back to Britain, he said, to escape from the danger of the U.S., when it's obvious he's a British, probably operative. And that's the thing, too. Just the fact that a guy with a British accent can get on TV and say he's from Portland, Oregon. It's like, okay, I'm from Portland. If you want to know what someone from Portland sounds like, it's me. I'm from Portland, Oregon. But, yeah, I mean, for getting out there are consequences. And, if we had enough resources, I'd also be more willing to get arrested for the sake of the event. Let's rewind to February 7th in Washington. I would have liked to have forced the issue and try to barge my way into the store to see the crime scene. And if there's any proof of a crime scene, that probably would have resulted in an arrest, but who knows? Maybe we would have got some really good, important video capture that might have made all the difference in the world. And again, the thing about getting arrested is it's expensive, and there's court time, and there's fines, and there's fees, and there's probation. And, if you got better resources, you got better legal representation and can wiggle your way around that. But again, that's why we need resources to make things happen. And, from this experience, the next time I get bear sprayed in the face, at least I know what to do now. And it's not dump water on it, which we had to dump. I had to take like an hour's worth of water blast to the face before it finally cleared out my eyes enough to see. But from what I understand is if you dump cold milk over your face, it actually neutralizes that stuff a lot better. So if you ever get bear spray in the face, mace, pepper spray, they're all related, I guess. Milk. And there's other things out there too, but water is not the ticket. Water actually makes it burn more each time. It felt like I was jumped into a volcano when I took a shower when I got home, because all that stuff ran all over my body. Oh my God, the shower water. I had to take an ice cold shower, because it was like you're on fire from the interaction of the chemical in the water. But yeah, anyway. And then, the other thing about being out on the streets, too, is sometimes just funny things happen and synchronicities. And, sometimes it's entertaining. Sometimes you got to make the truth more entertaining. And just to remind people of this clip right here. This is right here in Yakima, Yakima, this is the day Mr. Cancel approached me. But here we go.
Johnson & Johnson.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Good. I just want to let you know the people I meet cancel people like you because you're purveyors of death. And also, you're not even into science or anything. I know you think all this is going on, but reality is you're just uneducated.
Why would you say I'm uneducated? You don't even know me.
I know, you don't know me. But I know what I know, and you know what you know, and you don't agree.
I'm going to put you on camera so people can see who you are. Yeah, so you're going to come up and accuse me of being uneducated. So what do you know about me? What's my level of education?
One thing. Not even know about me either. You don't know nothing about facts. You just listen to Fox.
So what facts am I...
For the record, not to brag about education, because a lot of times the more educated you are, the more indoctrinated you are. But for people who wonder what my level of education is, my undergrad degree, those are your first 4 years of college, is accounting. Go figure. And then I have a master's degree as well, which was another 3 years of school, and that's in education. So that's my level of education. But here, let's watch this champ some more. Mr. Cancel. You guys didn't hear me. Did you hear what he said? The reason people like me cancel people like you. It's like, what in the world? Who the hell's talking? And you just see, this is media programming 101. This is when the whole cancel culture thing's going on.
Am I saying incorrectly?
You know.
What? Name one fact that I'm saying incorrectly.
Nothing.
So what have I said that's wrong?
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I will. The reason why people like me, and there's a lot of us, cancel people like you, it's not cancel. We don't want to be around people like you anymore who just completely are out of touch.
Well, you just came out here to talk to me. How am I out of touch, sir?
You know why.
No, I don't know why. You didn't say one thing that I said wrong. I'm an idiot. How am I an idiot? Okay, you're the one walking around outside with a face diaper on. You look like a pussy, sir. I would say you're a pussy. I would say you're an American pussy with a big mouth, talking a lot of shit, and doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Yeah, but you're a big pussy. Keep your face diaper on. It's a fitting look for a little pussy like you. Yeah, keep walking away like a pussy. Oh, there goes your hat, dumbass. I'd pick it up for you, but you're a piece of shit.
I know you are.
Here, that's God sending you a message right there.
Yo, we're civil war and you're evil.
Yeah, I'm evil.
I'm gonna make sure that I don't
Okay, go get the vaccine. Hey, go get the vaccine, sir. Like Bill Gates said, we can do a good job depopulating the worthless pieces of shit like you with vaccines. Go get one. Yeah.
Okay, so Mr. Cancel. And again, I mean, these interactions, in a way, they need to happen. You know, not everybody likes them. Some people think it's immature, wrong, but again, we need to sort out where we are as a society. I mean, how many people are like that guy? Sadly, way too many. And again, it all needs to be aired out. That guy should go back and watch himself on camera, talking about, you know, how uneducated I am. It's like, in all likelihood, I'm more educated than he is technically. And again, I mean, whose points have been proven true in the course of the last 2 years? You know, I know my book's spot on, so. But yeah, again, you guys, for all the people who don't support, realize there is a lot of resistance and opposition to me. I mean, the majority of people who make videos about me are negative videos, lying about me, slandering, trying to work against the work. And, you know, just when I went down to Oklahoma City, I couldn't even make it into the museum. This totally took me by surprise. I did not expect for this to happen. But as I'm going up to the museum, the security approaches me and asks me if I'm Zachary Hubbard. And I said, yes, I am. And he immediately went hands-on trying to shove me backwards. And he wasn't big enough, so he couldn't shove me backwards. So he called a little bit bigger guy. And then the three of them together all kind of bodied me off the property. But here, we'll watch this interaction. And, you know, I didn't do the best job here. I definitely could have been better. But again, when you got three guys essentially shoving you around, you know, you probably won't be in your best frame of mind either. But I did come back later, and this same guy whose face is up in the screen, he actually went and checked out my YouTube channel and said I might be right about things, but he ultimately said, but listen, man, I'm just doing my best, and this is the best job I ever had. And I said, well, you could be, you know, it might be the best you've ever been paid, but you could be, you know, here protecting evil. And I could tell he was thinking about things, you know? So we did come back a few days later, and then he got into it with fake Mike Real News again, so it looks like he might have fallen off the path that he was starting to get on. But you know what? If he got constant pressure day after day, I have a feeling this guy would change. You know, and for all the people who continue to do evil because it's the best job they ever had, I mean, we need to make those people think about what they're doing too, because there's a lot of people in this world doing that, like nearly every police officer, nearly everyone in the military. And those are the things that allow the tyrants to stay in place. Take away the police and the military, tyrants don't have anyone left to protect them. But again, we'll watch this, and I'll talk about where things could have got better. You know, my mom wasn't real happy about this, but again, this was arriving to Oklahoma City. And by the way, our live stream from Oklahoma City, it was awesome until it got taken down by big tech censorship, which is also true of our March 2021 Seattle rally. Was awesome until it got taken down by big tech censorship. And just a lot of things have been taken down. Some of the best videos I uploaded to Zachary on the Corner. That's another channel I have that I haven't used for a while because it was on the brink of getting deleted for a while. But I had a lot of great interviews on the street on that channel that have been taken down. It's just Google likes to censor even more when you have a great interaction on the street. But again, that's why we need to be on the street, because they can't really censor us on the street. They can censor the content we try to put on the internet to share with other people, but they can't stop what happens in the community that people see. And again, you have to realize what people might see from our community is something they've never seen before. They never heard about this knowledge. They never seen such evidence. This is all new to them. This is the real news. But here, let's just watch how this went again. This is Oklahoma City. It was, I got into town that Thursday. This is Friday morning. It was Jackie Robinson Day. I actually meant to do a better job with this, but I was all instigated and heated. This was Jackie Robinson Day, April 15th. Here we go.
You gotta go. Sir, you gotta get your hands off me. Go. You guys, I just got here, and when I walked up to the building, they said, are you Zach Hubbard? And they said, you're not allowed here, and this guy just put hands on me. What's your name? Leave. What's your name? What's your name? You just asked me my name. Leave. Tell me what my name is. Just ask me it.
I do like how he smirked there for a second once he asked me what my name was. I said, "You just asked me my name," and he smirked because he knew. He's like, "Yeah, that was stupid." But that's just you just see how people get in this kindergarten mindset. My dad's better than your dad. What's your name? What's your name? It's like, dude, you just came up and asked me my name, man. How you gonna respond like that? Come on.
Hey, Pat, can you come out?
Pat's coming out, you guys. We got hands on here. Whoa!
Hey, man, you gotta roll.
Hold on. What do I have to roll for?
You gotta roll. Trespass. Come on. You gotta go, man.
This is private property.
Hold on.
Come on, partner. You gotta go.
Hey, you don't need to put hands on.
No, let's go.
Listen.
This way, brother.
Listen.
This way. Listen, this way.
I can walk. You don't need to put hands on.
Okay, then, let's
Straight
go.
up, Pat?
I'm back, yeah.
Okay, so Pat's gonna put hands on.
Let's go.
You know, listen. Please don't push me. I will walk.
Well, then walk.
I don't. Hey, I'm happy to walk. I just don't need to be pushed.
Start walking.
Huh?
Start walking.
What law did I violate coming here?
Start walking, man. Let's go.
Do you know why I'm here?
Yeah, I know.
The actual victims.
Well, let's go.
Why am I here, sir?
Man, go, man. Get on my nerve. Go. Let's go.
Why am I getting on your nerve?
Come on, man. Let's roll. Let's roll.
Arrested for trespassing. That's it.
So what law did I break?
Trespassing.
You talking too much, man. Let's go. Let's go, man. You talk too much.
Where am I supposed to go? I'm off the property. I'm off the property.
You're good. You go anywhere, you're off the property.
Well, then stay off of this. Stay off of this.
Pat, you're a sellout to humanity, Pat. You know that?
Whatever, man.
Yeah, whatever. You're a sellout to humanity. Pat is a sellout to humanity. Take a good look at him. This is a sellout to humanity. This is what's wrong with the man right here. Why do you think so many people your color are in prison cells?
My color.
Yeah, why do you think they're in prison
Man,
cells?
get out of my face.
That's what you're here working for.
Better get out of my face, man.
Go.
Straight up, you better get out of my face.
I'm off the property.
Just go.
I'm off the property.
It's not worth it.
Not worth it?
Yeah.
To educate about what really happened here on April 1995? You know what really happened here?
Stay off the property.
PD. How about that?
You're good, Aaron.
All right, well, we'll watch the rest of this. A lot of people want clarification on why I said it to him that way. Why do you think so many people of your color are in prison cells? And the reason I asked him like that is because, I mean, look at the situation, right? 2 white security guys asked for the black guy to come out and shove me around, right? And again, it's like they asked him to come out and do the dirty work. And again, you know, I spend a lot of my time sticking up for black people and exposing the racial programming that's meant to make black people look like bad stereotypes in the media that's broadcast all the time. But from growing up in a black community and from working in a black community, I also know that there are black people that are like the bad stereotypes, and they're kind of the ones that make the thought perpetuate in especially white people's minds about why they're afraid of black people and they don't want to be out at night in an area where black people are. They're afraid of black people because of the Pats of the world. And that's not a racist thing to say. It's just a fact. And again, I mean, look at how he acts. Just like an ass, violent, shoving. And again, what's he doing? I mean, he doesn't even need an explanation for why he's come out and doing what he's doing. And again, I wanted him to think about, you know, my question. There could be all sorts of thoughts going through Pat's mind why I asked him that. But again, to me, it was a fair question for that man. I wouldn't just say that to any black person, but I said it to Pat. See, and that's the thing too. People always want to get butthurt and involved in other things that don't have to do with him. People don't like what I said to some other black YouTubers years ago. You know why I said it to them? Because they kept making videos making racist comments about me. Here, you want to make 50 videos making a racist comment about me that's not even true? Maybe I'll say something back racist once to see how you feel. And then they get all butthurt and make a video about it. It's like, see, they're just a little bitch. They can sit there and make 50 videos with a racist comment. I say something back to them halfway racist, and then they want to cry about it. It shows who they are. You know? I'm not saying that my behavior is correct or right, but again, if you get badgered and harassed by somebody enough, you might say something back that maybe you shouldn't say because that's just human nature. So I think my question to Pat was fair. And notice, Pat's going to stick around and listen.
Call PD for what?
Stay off the property, man.
I'm not on the property anymore.
You're badgering somebody.
How am I badgering somebody?
You're getting in his face talking about
I'm getting in his face. He's pushing me. Are you guys out of your mind?
So? You got in his face?
You should eat less sugar, my man. Help out the skin. Too much sugar. And you should stop being less of a sellout. You know?
Dr. Phil, I appreciate it.
Weasel? Here, let me give you all a lesson why I'm really here. What happened on April 1995? What really happened here? Was it Pat, come listen. Come learn something. Come learn something, Pat. What really happened here April 1995?
We don't have time. We got enough crap going on.
You got enough crap going on? You guys are just standing around doing nothing.
We're watching you.
Okay.
If you come back on this property,
I'll be back here with the megaphone from right here. So I know where building limit is now. Okay. So I'll be good, and I'll make sure everybody knows what really happened on April 19th. Who you sellouts work for?
Okay.
Sure, sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So you guys are happy because being sellouts? Just terrorizing good people?
We're not terrorizing.
So what you're protecting? Okay, what are you protecting them for?
Protecting people that come through here. Get the camera off me. I do not give you the right to film me.
You don't. In public, you have the right to film anybody.
Okay.
Look into the law, buddy. Learn the laws.
Okay.
Yeah, learn the laws.
Go.
What? Go what?
Get away from me, please.
I'm off the property. You guys can go back to your job if you don't want to learn something. But what? Have you guys noticed there's a lot of tragedies on April 19th in history?
Yes.
Why do you think that is? Is it Timothy McVeigh that's responsible for all of them all over the world?
No.
So why do you hear something about April 19th that just makes people act crazy?
No.
So what do you think's really going on?
What do you think? You're the one.
I know what's going on. I know what's going on. Pat, come learn something. It's not good to be an ignorant man.
We gotta worry about people in here.
I'm gonna talk to Pat. Pat's the most abusive of all three of you.
That's fine.
Pat's the most sold out of all three of you.
He's not sold out. He works.
Pat, you should look into the Jesuit order.
Nope.
Ignatius of Loyola became the first superior general of the Jesuits. You know how Jackie Robinson, they made him wear number 42? That's who controls Major League Baseball. I can tell you why they stamp 42 all over black history. It's a real sick joke. But the Jesuits, they run this whole damn nation. They run this whole damn world. April 19th, the day Ignatius of Loyola became the first superior general of the Jesuits. Have you ever heard of Kabbalah before?
Nope.
You don't care? You don't care about information? You should look into nutrition, then your acne won't be so bad.
Oh, thanks, Phil. Appreciate it.
Yeah, less sugar. Less sugar. That's what's behind all that acne.
Yeah.
But the Jesuits, they're into Kabbalah. Kabbalah is Jewish mysticism. The Book of Formation is their text. The first page says God created the world with numbers, letters, and words. Numbers, letters, and words.
If you come back on this property.
Well, here, let me teach you something real quick. Okay, yeah, you'd be arrested. Okay, you guys are good fucking pieces of shit. That's what you guys are. You guys are some sorry ass motherfuckers, and what's wrong with the country?
Oh, we're wrong with the country.
Yeah, you are. What's wrong with the country? You don't want to know anything. Okay. You want to protect us? Huh?
Why are you filming?
So I can document some sorry ass motherfuckers that represent what's wrong with the nation. Tell me something. Were any of you guys in the military? Were any of you in the military? Wait, good. That's good. What about you? Well, that's good too. Not good enough to make it in. Is that why you didn't make it?
No, I never tried.
Well, why you want to be a security? Why you want to be a security?
Because I love protecting this place.
Oh, you're not protecting it today.
I'm getting you on property.
That's not protection. The information I have, it should be in this museum. Learn Gematria. If you spell out Timothy McVeigh, it equals 201. If you spell out Ignatius of Loyola, it equals 201. If you spell out the Jesuit order, it equals 201. If you spell out Jorge Mario Bergoglio, it's 201. That's the first Jesuit Pope, Pope Francis, the first to ever live in Suite 201 at the Vatican. Look into the Jesuit history. They were saved by Catherine the Great, who preserved the order with 201 Jesuit priests. That's their own history. They would have been gone without her. 201, they do it over and over and over. They put Timothy McVeigh was sentenced to death on June 13th, 97, the day leaving 201 days left in the air. His accomplice, Terry Nichols, guess what his name equals? 201. Supposedly they arrested him in a Mercury Marquis. Guess what that equals? 201.
Okay, thanks for the lesson.
Hey, well, you should look into it, because they put him to death 3 months before 9/11. There were 2 towers, then there was 0, then there was 1. All over the nation, there's henchmen like you guys protecting people from the truth. You guys are on the side of evil. Yeah, you guys are scumbags. I'll be back here at the megaphone. Yeah, fuck you. Have a good day. Yeah, okay. Okay, tough guy.
You're weak.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so you can arrest. You want me to listen? Look at these guys.
I don't do anything. I'm on my property.
Yeah, you want to get me arrested.
It's private property.
You want to get me arrested? Hey, I'm glad the word's getting out, though. I'm glad you guys knew I was going to be here. But I'll be back with the megaphone within my rights. Yeah, so fuck you. Yeah, fuck you.
You're tough.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Yeah, all 3 of you are tough.
Yeah. You're tough with your phone.
Okay.
You're tough.
All right, buddy.
Blast this all over Facebook, wherever you're gonna blast. Okay, go do that.
The world needs to see what's wrong. Why do you think we're ruled over by tyrants?
Because we're working.
Why do you think we're ruled over by tyrants?
We're working. We're wrong. That makes us wrong.
So why did your boss say to remove me?
That's on him. You'd have to ask him.
Have him come out here. I want to talk to him.
Okay.
Yeah, send him out here. Send your boss out here.
But you're right. We do have a job we have to do, and we're doing our job.
You're not supposed to put hands on people. You guys are outside. All that's on video camera. You're lucky the police don't give a shit about anything, though. They're not going to do anything. You know, if I put hands on you, they'd be here in 5 seconds.
They would definitely arrest you.
Yeah, the police would be all over my ass. They're not going to do anything to you. I know how it works.
Yeah.
I had news media break my camera. The police didn't give two shits. If I broke their camera, would have been in jail.
You know, you're invading personal space.
I didn't invade anybody's personal space. You guys got my space. Are you retarded, sir?
No, I don't know.
I think you are.
Are you? Okay.
No, I didn't. I'm not. I'm a smart guy. I'm a smart guy. You're a retard. You got my space and then just said I got your space. Just shut the fuck up, please.
Oh, I should shut up? You gotta stop talking about that.
Less sugar. Less sugar. You guys, this is what bad acne looks like? It's too much sugar.
Huh? You are one piece of shit, you know that?
How am I a piece of shit?
You feel insecure about yourself. You take it on
I don't feel insecure about myself at all, sir.
Clearly you do. You take it on
I'm giving you real knowledge. Take it out on you guys. You guys come in and start shoving me in the back.
Yeah.
That's how you get someone to talk shit to you. Learn something.
You know, how about this? How about we just give you your own piece of magic? Why don't we just film you all day and say how you like
Go ahead and film me. I don't give two shits.
He likes the
Pull out your camera and film it.
Yeah, you like attention. You're teaching.
Yeah, I am teaching. I just gave you some real knowledge. Where's your boss at? Where's your boss at? Oh, well then how'd you know to come harass me? No, you came up and asked if I was that covered. So where's your boss at? Tell your boss, fuck you. Sir, who are you? Did you see what these three guys just did to me? Fuck you is a deserved term. Hey, work on that acne, buddy. Too much sugar. Yeah. All right, you guys. Well, welcome to Oklahoma City. We'll be back with the megaphone then to do the work. Okay, well, the thing that sucked is what happened was then a guy came by, you know, and stuck something in my chest, and he said he had a nice, let's see, do I have it here? I might have brought it with me. And then he also found my car at the hotel, so I got one in person. Shout out to Furious. There's a dude named Furious. His dad named him after a character from Boys in the Hood. But I was talking to him. He goes to Oklahoma, University of Oklahoma, and then this dude came by and gave me the manila envelope with this. And I get back to the hotel the next day, and there's one on my car, too. But he just highlighted all the things that I'd be arrested for. So I actually called the police, and I had them come out and say, is it true that if I get on the megaphone here, you guys are going to arrest me? And the police officer went and talked to the building, and they said, well, the building's going to complain, and if they do complain, then we will arrest you. I said, really? So I don't have my First Amendment rights here. So anyway, it did kind of put a damper on the megaphone because I wasn't trying to get arrested before anybody got into town. But again, more resources, that becomes less of a concern. You know, granted, if I did get arrested in Oklahoma City, I'd have to hang around for a court date, and usually that's a couple weeks out, and then there's a return court date, so I'd probably have to make 2 more trips to Oklahoma City, and that getting expensive. Again, that's a 30-hour drive for me. But what's a lot closer drive is this Googleplex, and I think this is just the spot to be for a whole week getting out the message. Granted, if we're making a trip around the nation, we can't spend a whole week at the Googleplex, but at least a couple days. And again, you guys, if enough people pledge $1 a month, if you can afford more than $1 a month, by all means, $2, $3, whatever you can afford, by all means. But if we get enough people pledging it, then we got enough resources to get out and do these things all the time. And that's what I need right now in my own life. I need to see that you guys come out and support and get behind what I did, because the problem is my support dropped by 1,000 people somehow after the Oklahoma City trip, which I don't understand. It's just like, okay, I haven't had this big of a drop-off in all the years I've been doing this, and then when we have our biggest, most successful event with the most effort put into it, then we have the most fall-off. I don't get it. But anyway, for all the people who dropped out, I need somebody to step up and take their place, because that's the way Sweet Lady's looking at it right now. She's like, look, Zach, you just put in more effort than before. You know, put yourself out there in harm's way, and now you got even less support. You got the least support you've had in a while. And I don't know what to say to her about that. I said, well, I said, I don't think it's that they didn't support because of what we did. I think it's because things are getting tough for people because how high gas is and the cost of food and everything else with it.
And I hope that is the case. And I have had people leave a comment that say, Zach, I really can't afford the $1 a month right now. Okay, I'm going to take your word at that. But if you can't afford $1, maybe figure out a way to budget $1. Some tips I have to save money. I grew up poor, so I know all about saving money and doing as much with $1 as possible. But only buy things at the grocery store that are on sale. That's a way to save more than $1 a month. If you eat out, stop eating out. Eat at home. Make your own meals. That's a way to save a lot more than $1 a month. If you have to pay for your heating and cooling in your house in the summer, allow it to get a degree warmer in the house. That'll save you way more than $1. Just 1 degree warmer on the thermostat. If you can handle 1 more degree, it'll probably save you between, depending on what your energy bill is, but it'll probably save you in the neighborhood of about $20 a month. Just 1 degree warmer on the thermostat. And in the winter, 1 degree cooler. A lot of people like to keep their house in the 70s in the winter when it's cold outside. Some of you guys live in a part of the country where you don't have to really worry about it. It just stays that temperature. But, for people who have to run their heater and keep it at 70, 72 degrees, I mean, it's pretty expensive in the winter. I always keep the house in, like the mid-60s. That's why I usually have a beanie and a hoodie on. But all these things save a lot of money. So, I mean, there's ways to budget more than $1, too. Like, if you drop it 1 degree on the thermostat, you could save as much as $20. So, and maybe you can, if you're that broke, you can spend that $20 in other ways. Just wear an extra layer in the house, or in the summer, just dress extra cool. So, anyway, there should be ways to account for an extra $1 to support the work, in case you need some tips. But, yeah, again, you guys, let me say to Sweet Lady, remember how the subscriber count dropped? Well, look, it's back up and it's higher than ever before. And 7,000 would be higher than it's ever been before. The highest it's ever been is about 6,500 people. Shout out to all those people who ever supported. But again, I've been saying for a long time, let's get a lot more people at $1 a month. Let's see that we got an army of people who support this work, who are down for the cause, who got $1 a month. And again, if you guys get more invested in the work, it'll probably make you more inclined to also start, sharing more content, liking more content, coming out to more events, using Free to Find Truth. And it needs to happen, you guys. I gotta do the lap. You guys gotta help me do the lap. 7,000 gets me down to big tech for a week, and then we'll get back to building up more people. If you guys can get me up to 10,000 people, we'll do the whole lap. And remember, I am going out to New York for September 11th, so if we can get to 10,000 before then, I'll leave early, and we'll do the lap. That'll be the lap. We'll go down through California, we'll cut across, we'll head east, middle country, Texas, Louisiana, down to the top of Florida. Then we'll go up the East Coast, and then we'll hit New York, and then on the way back, we'll drive west, and we'll hit all the cities west, Chicago, Minneapolis, all that. We'll do the whole lap. We'll hit up all the major destinations. I might try to dip down into some of the bigger cities. I'll definitely dip down into the Cleveland, Ohio area, because a lot of my supporters are in Ohio for whatever reason. Must be something different in the water in Ohio. And, but yeah, I mean, we should be able to do this. We should be able to do this. And granted, I mean, it would be a lot easier. I know we'd be hitting all of our goals if it hadn't been all the censorship and the channel hadn't been reduced to so small and the bottom of the algorithm. But still, even with the people who are here right now, again, right now we got over 10,000 subscribers on this channel. I feel like every last one should be able to find $1 a month. It's 3 pennies a day. I can't emphasize it enough. If you can't figure out a way to budget 3 cents, I mean, I guess maybe that's what I need to focus on for the community. How to save money, how to be efficient with money, so. Yeah, Patreon, if you go to Patreon and pledge $1 a month, it'll just take $1 out on the first each month. It'll take $1 out on the day you pledge, and then from then on, it'll take $1 on the first of each month. That's the way it works. But, yeah, just realize, you guys, being out on the street, it's what has to happen in a lot bigger way. I want to do it, but it takes resources. Unfortunately, right now, I live in the wrong city. I'm 3 hours from Seattle and Portland, and that's doable, but I've done Portland and Seattle a lot, and those people kind of suck. I mean, I will do it on our lap around the country again, but those aren't going to be the cities to change America. Those are like the most mind-controlled populaces in the nation right now that love government and hate freedom of speech. And It's a bad scene in the Pacific Northwest. So it's too bad what's happened to the liberal movement. I used to identify as liberal when I was younger, but I still identify as liberal in the sense that it means open-minded and willing to change. Like I totally embrace that definition of liberal, but man, liberal politics has just become the ultimate cancer. And it's just like, it's about every bad agenda there is right now. When I was younger, liberals were about stopping wars, all the needless wars, all the corporate domination of the world. Like, the liberal agenda was on point when I was growing up, in my opinion. But it's become ugly. It's become so... I'm sure there was always things that were part of liberalism, too, that weren't the best. But it was... When I was growing up, it was focused on stopping the corporate gluttony and the needless wars, and also do something about all the people in cages that are a darker complected skin color and people who, had too many plants in their pocket. And all those things I'm still about. It's just that the liberals aren't really about that anymore. It's like, I don't know. I guess they're just about, you can't even talk about it. Anyway, thank you to everyone who did a super chat. Let me make sure I said thank you to everybody who did super chats. And yeah, I really do hope we can hit the milestones. And keep an eye, sweet. Like, the nice thing about Patreon is it shows the total subscriber count, so you can see what the number's at. It just got above 5,000 again. Thank you to the people who support and the people who came back. But let's see the number climb up to 7,000. Again, it takes resources to make things happen. Gas is expensive right now, and I do need to be down in big tech on the megaphone for a week, talking to the people down there and helping create another gathering. It's the most important one that needs to happen. Honestly, it's probably even more important than New York and 9/11. This attack on the First Amendment and freedom of speech by big tech is the thing that needs to be addressed the most, because the internet is controlling the information, and we are being controlled and kept from reaching an audience right now, and it's a major problem. It is a major problem. Okay. There were a lot of donations, and a lot of small donations, and that's just perfect. Smoke C, thank you so much for the British pound and change. I appreciate it. Shy Divine, come on. Shy Divine, you guys, she gave me a $100 bill in person in Oklahoma City. Definitely didn't need to do that. I was trying not to take it from her, but she insisted. I know some people are just huge givers, and she's one of those huge giver types. But I mean, think about it, you guys. She paid money. She didn't ask for any money. She wasn't. I mean, the money that came in, I ended up giving out more money to people. So thank you. You kind of helped subsidize the community. But Shy Divine, she paid to fly into town. She paid to have a hotel. She paid for food, and then she even brought an extra $100 bill for me. And just super generous. And then she's got a super chat today. She said, "Hey, Zach, Bill Gates just tested positive today," and I get her super chat. She posted it for $258, and I get why. It's because William Henry Gates equals 258. His dad dead on the 258th day of the year. His vaccine alliance set up on the 258th day of his age. We know the phrase number of the beast is 258. We know he was part of the simulation 666 days before the pandemic was declared. The problem is the world doesn't know this information, but Shy Divine knows it. And yeah, I just, when people give me a big donation like $100, I feel bad because I feel like it's too much of a burden for one person to give that much. Again, my preference is people donate something that's next to nothing, but we get big enough numbers to do it, so it's not like it's not some kind of financial burden to them. Shy Divine, she might need her $100 back, That's a lot to give, but if you can figure out a way to budget 3 pennies a day, I mean, that's not gonna break you. So thanks again, Shy Divine. John SoCal 619 says, "Keep it up, Zach. See you in San Francisco soon." Indeed. South Holland says, "Thanks for your time and effort, my guy. You're welcome. Thank you for the $5. Smoke C apparently had another donation, another $2 and change. I appreciate it. And Question Mark said, "What you said about homeless people was spot on." And in case people didn't hear what I said people on the street who are homeless, some people you try to interact with on the street, they have huge substance abuse problems and all sorts of mental illness, and they can hardly even communicate. So, they don't count on what I'm about to say, but a lot of people who are homeless on the street, they might not look like much because they're homeless and dirty, but you talk to them and you find out that they know so much about the world. They have, you're like, how do they have all this knowledge and information? How are they up on things? How do they know about, it'll blow your mind. You're like, what in the world? These people are way more awake and have way more knowledge than you would ever know unless you talk to them. And I used to spend a lot of time interacting with the homeless. Just in the community. I used to work at a homeless shelter in Seattle. And when I was just at Sweet Lady's graduation, the highlight of that day was when we were getting in our car to drive home, there was a homeless man sitting out there, and he was with his dog, and he was looking at us, and we had some leftover food, and we gave it to him. And right away, he just bit in. He's like, man, I'm so hungry. Thank you so much. I needed this. And he bites into the food. He's like, oh my God, there's cilantro in here. He's like, cilantro's my favorite food. I love cilantro. And he had these big blue eyes. And he was just so grateful. And he took another bite. This is the best thing I've had in a long time. And, it's just like, that's the nice thing about interacting with people. You just get to see their reactions, their body language, their happiness, what it does for them. And then their energy feeds your energy. And creating positive interactions is what there's not enough of in the world. What we just did in Oklahoma City was a beautiful, positive thing. What we've done in Seattle in the past 2 years, beautiful, positive thing. It just needs to happen way more. It needs to happen way more. It needs to happen all over. It needs to start happening all the time. And, again, I wish more people would just take the lead and do it themselves, but I realize there's probably more people that follow me than I know because the numbers are suppressed. They used to be a lot bigger years ago. But it's obvious that where I go, we can get some people to come out. Still not enough, but, we did Dallas in less than 24-hour notice, and we got about 20-some people to come out through that day, and they exchanged phone numbers. And, again, if we can plan and say, listen, and just every day I'm up there, I'm saying, okay, today I'm in SoCal, tomorrow I'm going to be in this city. If people are following and you guys know what way I'm driving, I'm doing a lap around the U.S., when your city's coming up, so you just got to pay attention for the notification. But, yeah, we got to do it, you guys. We got to do it. And help out some homeless people along the way. I mean, we helped out plenty of homeless people. We gave people homeless people money in Oklahoma City. We gave homeless people money in Dallas. We're making all sorts of things happen. People are connecting. We're making people's day. We got a homeless man in Dallas, a street poet, to come out and recite his beautiful little poem. And, we helped out a business in a big way in Oklahoma City. I mean, there's so many powerful things that can happen from a group of people coming together. They can create all sorts of positive interactions and just be like positive dominoes in the city. But also, IBN12 donated $5, said, keep it going. We got something good going for us. Just need more people, 100%. I'm not sure how to pronounce your first name because it's very interesting. Is it Madi? Is it a silent J? Mate? I'm sorry if I'm messing up your name, but they donated some euros, 10 euros. Keep up the good work. Greetings from the Netherlands. I appreciate it very much. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. McKeebros27. Is it Madi? Maybe it's Madi. McKeebro27, looks like New Zealand. Wow, okay, we got a nice international audience today. Reminds me I got to get my passport. I don't have a passport right now. Thank you for the $5. I appreciate it. LAF, always generous. Thank you again for $1. It just so happens with the $2, they wrote the number of Lucifer equals 201. That's interesting. I got to see if that phrase is used anywhere. Interesting. Divine Lion with another donation. Thank you so much, Divine Lion. I see you a lot in the super chats. $10. Pro Stalker 888, super generous. See their name a lot in the super chat. Another $10. King Henry. Is that my King Henry in Vegas? King Henry in Vegas. Shout out. King Henry was pound and pavement with us in Seattle, March 2020. He's now living in sunnier weather in Nevada. He did pound some pavement with us on the corner in Yakima as well. Shout out to King Henry. I assume it's the same King Henry. Didn't have to do that, my man. I appreciate it. A. Nate Robinson. A. Nate Robinson, you guys make sure you're following him on Twitter, especially if you're the sports people. He's become one of the better decoders out there. And, I see his super chat's actually from yesterday. He said Giannis is 42-30 in the playoffs right now, and he picked up his 42nd win 213 days from his birthday. And again, we talked about these number combinations so many times. Basketball and beyond. You know, the N-word's 42, racial slurs 42, and Jewish gematria, racism's 213. They've done this same pattern with a number of other star players, including LeBron James. And again, the reason that Nate Robinson knows it's because he's been watching for years. And he's seen these same patterns. You know, I wasn't even paying attention. I did see the Milwaukee Bucks got their 148th playoff win the day of the 148th Kentucky Derby, which is also interesting. But, yeah, again, it is nice that the knowledge is spread and now there's plenty of people in the world doing their own decodes, but it's still not enough. Again, we'll know it's enough people are doing the work when we're having the result that should be happening. That's when we'll know that there's enough people, and we need to continue working and pushing forward until that day comes. And just drop the defeatist attitudes. Even if it is true that it's already too late and we're defeated, if that is true, you still got to go out fighting like a champ. And I don't think it's too late and we're already defeated, because if it was, I don't think they'd be censoring us anymore. I don't think they'd spend so much time censoring us and trying to stop us from online to Oklahoma City to everywhere else we go. You know, the last 2 times I've been in Seattle, they had a person waiting there to drown me out with a loudspeaker so that it takes down the stream for copyright right away. Again, if we were defeated, why would they have to defeat me anymore, right? We'd already be defeated. So I don't think we could possibly be defeated, honestly, when I think about it. I'd actually say it's impossible that we've already been defeated. Otherwise, they wouldn't have to be doing what they're doing. They know that they can still lose. They're trying to maintain their edge on knowledge and information so that they continue to manipulate people the way they do. And, yeah, so... Bird's Eye Video, thank you. Bird's Eye Video just donated $9.99 and said, already a $5 Patreon and not having $1 a month is really hard to believe. Shame on those not telling the truth. I appreciate it, and you didn't have to do that. I mean, if everybody pledged $5 a month, we'd have a ton of resources. Again, I mean, I know it's tough times, you guys, and realize times are getting tougher. If you guys haven't figured it out yet, you're going to be broker and broker and broker than you already are if we don't stop the agenda. If you don't realize that, the agenda makes it harder for people as time goes on, if you guys haven't figured that out. You know, again, 50 years ago, one adult worked in the family and made more money for that family than 2 parents now make for their family. A lot more. They were able to pay for their child to go to school. They didn't have to go into super debt. They didn't have, debt up to the eyeballs for everything. You guys, we are getting exploited more and more as time goes on. It's because there's an agenda, the same one I'm talking about every day, that gets greedier and more evil day by day as it goes unchecked day by day. And if you think you're broke now, you're going to be way broker as time goes on, as things become more expensive, more unaffordable. This is why this needs to be stopped. Figure out a way to budget 3 pennies now. Try to get behind a person, yes, yours truly, who's been working. Again, is there anyone else in the last decade who's worked more to try and stop the agendas and been more on point and put out better knowledge? Again, look at the resume of what I've done, the accomplishments, the predictions, the workload, the blog posts, the videos, the books, and pretty much all of it's out there for free. Put something back in and help me get where we need to be with this information and knowledge. No one's going to knock us off the podium if we get there. There's not a single person that's going to be able to come out and make me look like a fool and some Looney Tune if I'm allowed to talk and explain what's going on and the knowledge and information we have. It's not going to happen. We're not going to lose the debate. Thank you, Nathan. I see Nathan just donated $10. I'm pretty sure Nathan's already on my Patreon. He doesn't need to donate $10 more either. And that's why, that's always the thing that burns me when I get on here and try to ask for more people to step up and support. It's usually a small group of people who do, thank you. But what ends up happening is the people who are already donating, then they make an additional donation. I'm just like, this person's already donating. I don't want them to donate even more. Granted, if you are signed up for $1 a month and you can afford $2 a month, I'll take that. But, if you're already pledging $5 a month, like our friend here, Bird's Eye Video, he didn't need to donate another $10. He's donating $60 a year to me. That's a lot of money from just one person. If we have enough people donating that much, it becomes a huge sum of money. Again, I mean, if you can afford more, by all means. But again, it shouldn't have to be that way. There should be enough people in the information age who see that this work's on point, who've experienced the work for years, and can find a dollar, you know? Nathan says, I put this clip in the chat earlier. It's important for this presentation. Keep in mind, it never hurts to ask questions. Hold on. Yeah, Nathan, where can I find the link? Because when I click on it, it says there's an error with this link. It seems like pretty much anytime anybody links a video on YouTube, the link doesn't work. I think it... Because I've noticed, like, when I link a video in there, I'm not sure it works for other people, but it works for myself. But anytime I click on anybody else's link, it doesn't work. So, Nathan, without a super chat, if you can direct me to what video you want me to show, I'm happy to show it. It's just the link's not working. Thank you, Mandela Obama. I see your donation too. Thank you very much. Sammy Tori, I see your donation. There must have been some more donations because this thing jumped up like, well. Yeah, Nathan, I'm going to look for your comment. Oh, it's your latest upload. Okay. Easy. All right, so we're going to go to Nathan's channel. That's Disambiguation 144 in the chat. Oh, this is, oh yeah, this is the, okay, so this was part of a live stream that got taken down, so I'm glad Nathan still has the footage. That we had so many, this is from last year, 2021 in Seattle. This live stream was so good, and they just had to ruin it and take it down. It just drives me nuts. But here we go.
Officer, I have a question for you about Antifa. Why are city police in Portland and Seattle not doing more of a crackdown on Antifa? I've never seen a group of teenagers just be able to hang out and vandalize and harass people and police just roll by, and I've just never seen it in my lifetime. So what is it as a police officer? Why do you guys stand down to Antifa? Well, I appreciate that response. Actually, I almost wonder if at the...
In case it didn't get picked up, he said, why don't you ask the higher-ups?
Police station, if the police chief is telling you guys that, hey, the city council's telling us to leave Antifa alone. Why? You guys, I've seen you guys speak on camera before.
Why don't you go speak to your city government and ask them that question? That's not a question that we can give you an answer to.
Well, I'm curious about this guy who just come over here all of a sudden is just threatening to fight all of us and just talking nonsense.
For people who don't know what happened, so there was a guy that was interacting with these two bicycle cops for a while. He was talking to them, and then he comes over to our group, and he's like, which one of you wants to fight me? And it's like, who is this guy to instigate a fight? I mean, this guy really was pencil body. Like, nobody wanted to fight this guy because it would have been over in 2 seconds no matter who fought him. He was like literally a pencil, and it seemed like he was under the influence of something. But the cops were sitting there after he talked and just watching, like just waiting for us to get, because he was talking all kinds of shit and saying he wanted to punch us all in the face and just talking shit to everybody. But it was like a joke. It's like, okay, dude, you're not, this guy would never win a fight against anybody, but the cops are sitting there watching, and it felt like it was some kind of setup, too. Like the cops were just hoping that this would instigate something so they could come over there. So after we finally got this guy to go away and get lost, then I decided I'd come over and ask the cops some questions.
That's why you guys are watching. Okay. Well, you guys could ask him to take a hike. He's harassing us. Okay. Okay. Well, I didn't mean to harass you. I wanted to ask you a real question. Tell you what, if you didn't laugh at the saxophone man, I would have left you all the way alone. You did. I mean, it was cruel.
The saxophone man, who I also will never stick up for again because it's another story. But anyway, the saxophone man was getting a ticket, and the cops were laughing their ass off at him, just like making fun of him as he ran to lobby with the meter maid. They were just having such a great laugh at watching the guy run with his saxophone to try and not get the ticket. And again, it's just like, you know, before this, I didn't realize that saxophone man was a piece of work too. But again, I mean, the guy's just there, you know, making music and trying to make tips. And you know, I mean, for him to get a ticket, it's just like the guy's actually doing the community a nice service, playing music out here. I mean, and then it's just cops. I mean, and notice this guy does have a little pig, like oink oink horn thing on his bicycle, so at least he has a sense of humor about what he is. But anyway, I mean, we'll just continue.
Okay. Taxpayer dollars at work, right? Indeed. Indeed. I'm asking you to do something about that guy. Well, I'm asking you to do your job. By sitting here drinking coffee, all this guy comes over and threatens us? He said he wants to kick our ass on camera. That's what he keeps saying to everybody. He's getting up in everybody's face saying that. And what would happen if we did? We'd be in handcuffs. Okay.
What's the body count?
They said I was.
That gentleman right there with his back to me and the hoodie on, he came all the way up from California that day. Shout out to him. But yeah, you guys, let's get down to the Googleplex. But I got to show Sweet Lady that the support came back behind, you know, because I mean she does have a point right now, you guys. I know it's somewhat of an excuse, right? It's the biggest liability about me is that I have to appease Sweet Lady too. And, you know, it's easier for me to do things when she gets on board with it. And, but yeah, if she saw that after Oklahoma City that support went way up instead of drastically down, she would be like, okay, I see the benefit of that. But right now she has an argument like, well, it looks like people don't really support that. It looks like for whatever reason you lost your support for going out and doing that. And that can't be right, you guys. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So I need people to fill back in those spots that were left vacant, and let's get it up higher than it ever was before, so I can say, see, they want me to get out and do that. We got to do this. The one thing that, so Sweet Lady's in a battle too, because she sees, as time goes on, she sees more and more how bad things are getting and why something needs to be done so we don't live in such a world of uncertainties and threats and potential major pitfalls. And she understands that if humanity doesn't rise up and do something, it probably is going to happen. But the way she feels is like, Zach, I mean, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And it doesn't look like you have enough support to do anything about it. And that's what needs to change. Because right now she's right. But it doesn't mean it'll stay that way. So, I mean, that's why I stay working hard every single day to get out the word. And every single day, like I say, this knowledge pays off. You know, just to make a point, just to run through some headlines today. When I first woke up this morning, again, some of this stuff just seems stupid, but again, when I woke up this morning, what's CNN's got in the center of their page? Russia fires hypersonic missiles. Oh, what day is this the news? Oh, this is the news on 10/5, the 10th day of the 5th month. What's hypersonic missiles equal? 105. You know, every single day, all of this news is the same way. Amy Coney Barrett, she's become the focus of what's going on with Roe vs. Wade because they're saying if Ruth Bader Ginsburg was still there, they wouldn't be able to do this. But she was the conservative who replaced the liberal. You know, and notice the abortion leak on May 2nd, the 122nd day of the year, the number that they do the most abortion rituals with. Notice it was 94 days after Amy Coney Barrett's birthday, and 94 days after her 50th birthday. Abortion 94 in reverse 122, 94 days after her birthday on the 122nd day of the year while she's age 50, while Roe vs. Wade's in its 50th year. Again, this knowledge shows just how big of an agenda it is. Propaganda by the numbers every day. Federal puppets in just the right spot so that they can pull off their planned rituals by the numbers. America equals 50. 50 states. 50 states full of people divided amongst propaganda that's infiltrated their brain every day of their life, you know, for 50 years. The same, all of this stuff is a ritual, you guys. It's all a ritual. And we can prove it every single day on pretty much every single issue that matters that has people all up in a rage, totally distracted, totally, you know what I mean. So, And by the way, New York 9/11 Truth. That's what Will's titled the page. Will's going to be there. It's right now it says 69 people responded to this page, 23 going, 46 interested. Can we get way more involvement on this page? Maybe you guys aren't on Facebook. I don't like to use Facebook too. I have it on there just to post. But I imagine a lot of people aren't on Facebook because it's like the ultimate CIA spying platform. But again, remember, if you want to be a truth seeker on there, you're probably already in a database being watched. You can create an anonymous profile and just to interact with pages like this that come up that Richard Quinn does, Daily Dose of Gematria, that we'll put up here, 9/11 Truth Now. It would be nice to see this get to a lot bigger number because that would be encouraging to other people who might be on the fence right now. So... New York City, September 11th, 2022. The plan is to get a hotel in Jersey City. As time gets closer, I'll announce where I'm going to stay. And again, from Jersey City, it's a lot cheaper there. It's easier to park there. And you can take the train from there. I'm going to drive out from West Coast again. And again, if we're up to 10,000 people by then, I won't just drive to New York City. Like I said, I'll drive the whole lap. We'll do the whole lap. We'll do the whole country. And... I think Sweet Lady, she'll see. She'll see that we're making a difference and she'll become even more supportive. So that's what I'm asking for you guys, to cough up those 3 pennies a day, pledge $1 on the Patreon, help that number grow. Again, there are a lot of different ways to donate. If you don't want to do Patreon, Cash App, Venmo, I can show all that to Sweet Lady too and say, listen, the number's not on the Patreon, but here's essentially another person that pledged $1. So there are other ways to donate. The nice thing is, though, the one thing I like about Patreon is it just shows how many people in the community are down for the cause. You keep getting that subscriber count. So, and keep in mind, out of everything I showed today, there is a lot more stuff out there that we could show, but a lot of it's been taken down from the censorship. That's also why we need to be a big tech store and see if maybe we can get the culture to change. Get these people to think about, is it right what you're doing? Have these meetings at your business place. Should we really be censoring and drowning out people's voices and taking down their channels? Is it really right for us to say something's medical misinformation because it goes against what the WHO is saying, even though the WHO and the Anthony Fauci's of the world are the ones that have had to be retracted so many times during the pandemic? I mean, none of my works had to be retracted. Everything I put out there has been accurate. The projections, the predictions, just spot on. From the date things will happen to the day stocks will bounce up to when the mandates will come off. It's written down in my book, Number Games. Came out a year and a half before the Year of the Tiger. But in the book it said, watch, when the Year of the Tiger rolls around, they'll wind down all the pandemic restrictions. They're foreshadowing that. Boom, as soon as the Year of the Tiger comes from the UK to the US to everywhere else, they start winding down all the pandemic restrictions. But like I also said, that won't be the end of it. Because we're just in phases. And as time goes on, it'll get worse if we don't stop it. Again, you guys, unfortunately, I haven't been wrong. I wish I was wrong. I wish we didn't have to live in a 1.5, 2-year phase of, what we've been through. But I understand it's going to get a lot worse. They got plans to make things a lot worse for people. Less rights, less liberties, less wealth, less quality of life. It's all coming if we don't stop what's pushing against us. There's not going to be some day where all of a sudden they're like, oh, I think we've been too hard on the people. We should give back their rights and liberties and everything we stole from them. Jeff Bezos, he's going to help reopen all the mom and pop businesses that got closed during the pandemic that he benefited from so much. That's not going to happen. The only way things like that are going to happen is if we take it back. So, all right, we'll leave it there for now, you guys. Thank you, guys and gals. I know some ladies don't like being called guys. Sorry, just one of those things. But thank you to everyone who tuned in. Thank you to everyone who hits the like, the share. Thank you to everyone who finds a way to pledge $1 a month. Again, I do encourage people to not donate, more than $5 a month. If you got a lot of money, not more than 10. I appreciate $100 donations, but I just kind of feel bad when I get a $100 donation. I feel like it's too much from one person, unless you're like some kind of multi-millionaire. But to me, it's too much of an investment from one person. I appreciate it. It's just, again, I feel better if it's a lot of people with a small donation. Because that's what we need. We need lots of people. That's what we need even more than money. We need lots of people dedicated to the cause, helping out, doing their part. It can't just be a small group of us. We need big numbers. So, well, if you'd rather not donate through Patreon, there's other ways. Again, PayPal, if you just send money to a friend, there's 0 transaction fee on that. Cash App, 0 transaction fee. Venmo, 0 transaction fee. So that there are ways to donate with a 0 transaction fee. And again, if you guys, a lot of you want to donate that way, I can also show that to Sweet Lady and say, okay, the number's not as high as it was, but look, people are donating this way now. It's the same thing. So, I mean, if all of a sudden there's $3,001, Venmos and Cash Apps, it'll be the same thing. So, I mean, if you guys would rather do it that way, it's just realize I'm asking you to pledge that $1 a month. So, a one-time donation of $1 does help. But again, if you want to do it through Cash App or Venmo, $1 a month is what I need to be showing Sweet Lady, that our numbers are growing, that more people are getting behind it. Because right now she thinks that I just hit a brick wall and there's just not ever going to be enough people out there to make the change we need to see. And that cannot be right. So, yeah, exactly. I mean, whatever means they have. I mean, again, this is the Jesuits who are behind this. We can prove it all day, every day, in a million different ways, and they do work from the Bible. So you don't have to be a Christian or a Jew or Islamic to understand it. Again, all 3 of the Abrahamic religions are based on the Torah. All you have to do is have a brain and realize, like, yeah, these people are using the Bible in a twisted way as their agenda. 666, the mark which you must have to buy or sell. It's obvious what's going on, you guys. Genesis 11:9, the tower to divide the world, where the story of the Tower of Babel ends, that begins in Genesis 11. Everything that happened in the 11 ritual on 9/11, the towers that divided the world over race and religion. Again, we know who this gang is. We know what they're doing. We know for what purpose they operate. We got it all. We got the information, the knowledge, the evidence for days. What we don't have is enough people who know about it. And we got to act like we're in a race to reach these people before it is too late. Sadly, there will be a day when it is too late. It's not that day yet, but that day will come. There will be a day when it is too late, when we waited too long, when we were too patient, when we made too many excuses. So, I don't want to live to see it. Somebody says, check my text. Hold on, Sweet Lady's calling. Hold on, I'm gonna be right back. Or hold on, I can just do it right here. What's up, love? So early, huh? Yeah. Okay. I'll start making food then. Okay. All right, love you. Bye. All right, bye. All right, Sweet Lady's on her way home early. So, thank you to the people who sent cash apps. Amanda sent 2. Michelle sent 1. Quentin sent 2. Jay sent 1. And Ryan went big time, and Ryan sent $75. Thank you very much. That is a lot. I appreciate it, though. He pretty much covered for himself and 74 other people. And, yeah, so there are other ways to donate. They're scrolling along in the bottom. And Sarah Sutherland with another 20. That's just someone who I can't stop, from being too generous. I've asked her like 15 times now to not donate anymore because she keeps sending $20 super chats, which it's super nice, Sarah, but I mean, God, you've donated a lot of money in the last 2 months. You've donated a lot of money. And, well, Sweet Lady's coming home early. So she was supposed to be home at 6. It's only 4 o'clock out here. So anyway, we try to eat dinner between 5 and 6 every night. By the way, you guys, for all you guys who are trying to lose weight, try not eating in a 16-hour window a day. You will be amazed at how fast you shed weight. If you eat in an 8-hour window each day, so that means if you eat your first meal at 9 a.m., you eat your last meal at 5 p.m. If you ate your first meal at noon, you could eat your last meal at 8 p.m. But it's also good to let all your food digest before you go to bed. So finish all your eating about 3-4 hours before you go to bed. That's also a good thing you can do. But yeah, you don't even have to reduce your food intake. But if you just eat like all your food that you would normally eat in an 8-hour window and you don't snack it all outside of it, that means you're not drinking sodas. You can't drink coffee and tea with sugar in it. You could drink coffee and tea, you just couldn't have any sugar in it. Just plain coffee or tea. But again, I just know a lot of people, they're packing a lot of extra weight, which is not good on their body. That's another way to save money, too, to not overspend on junk food, which I know a lot of people do. Snacking all day, extra money. But anyway, you guys, for all of you trying to lose weight, try eating in an 8-hour window. It gets easier as time goes on. Maybe at first that's a little bit hard. Start with 9 hours and get it down to 8 hours. And you'll be amazed. You'll be amazed at how much weight you lose. My dad and his wife, they're losing a bunch of weight by doing that. Again, you get off it, though, you'll gain the weight back. But if you develop a habit and a good habit, then it's easy to stick with the habit, too. So, thank you, Matthew Bentley. I saw your dollar. It didn't go unnoticed. I appreciate it. All right. We're going to leave it there for now. And I'm counting on you guys. I'm counting on you. And by the way, I will throw this out there even for the person, eventually I'm going to end up down in Big Techville sooner or later, regardless. But it would be a lot, again, if you guys beat me to the punch and we get to that number, I'll be down there the day we hit it. So understand that. I appreciate it, the beer guy. Thank you. All right, let's leave it right there for now. Again, if you guys did make a donation today and you never read my books, make sure you download a free ebook. Again, even if you didn't make a donation today, you can download the books for free. The link's in the description. It's Subscribe Star Zachary K. Hubbard. But yeah, we'll leave it there for now. And again, thank you to everyone, especially the donors. Thank you. Till next time.